So again, I say good evening, and at this time, we will formally open our meeting, and welcome to the Town of Fairmount Heights Mayor and Town Council meeting for the date of October 19th, the year 2022. It's such a pleasure to have everyone here with us, and especially our county executive. She is bringing so much pleasure to us this evening by coming to visit us. So if you all would give her a round of applause before we even get started. And to all of her team members, thank you all so much for your advanced work, for getting everything prepared so that she can have a smooth transition coming in with us. It's nothing better than that teamwork. Amen. Yes. So we're going to continue on down our agenda. We're basically going to adopt this particular agenda here, and we're going to move to her own special agenda. We're going to let her organize it the way her advanced team has already sent it out to me. But I'm going to start off, first of all, with a moment of silence, and then we will do our flag salute. I want to thank you all very much. If you would please stand as we salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You may be seated. At this time, I would like to ask our clerk to the council if she would please do a roll call.
Yes. Mayor Lily Martin.
Present.
Mayor. Councilmember Waiters.
Present.
Councilmember Stewart.
Present.
Councilmember White.
Present.
Councilmember Wood Dotson.
Present.
Councilmember Barnhart.
Present.
Councilmember Oscar.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Spann, for the roll call. At this time, we're going to divert to the county executive schedule. And you all won't see this on your agenda, but we will get welcome and greetings from the Office of Community Relations, and it will be done by our director, Eunicia Davis, the Director of Community Service. You all give her some applause. Yeah. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Eunicia Davis, Director of the Office of Community Relations, serves the pleasure of our county executive. So thank you for having us, Mayor Thompson Martin.
Yeah.
Can you get the mic on? Sure.
Okay.
My skill set, right?
Okay.
Right? Okay. All right. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to start over. I'm just going to say good evening, though. All right. All right. So I would like to thank Mayor Thompson Martin and council members for having us today. It's a real pleasure to be with you tonight. I love in person. I'm kind of glad that we're back here, right? Not virtual, right? And of course, our county executive, always a pleasure to see you, ma'am. So on behalf of my staff, thank you for the advanced work. I like that, Mayor. Yeah. I like that a lot, right? The advanced work to make things smooth, get in and get out. And so I would like to thank my staff this evening and also the county executive staff as well. For the Office of Community Relations, we are the outreach arm for the county executive for government. So we serve almost the 1 million residents of Prince George's County, equipping you with resources, right, to improve your quality of life. I also, and please don't groan, I'm hoping it's not a groan, I also oversee 311, PGC 311. I hope you all like it. If you don't, it's okay. We'll talk offline. We'll talk offline. But we have tried our best to improve the service, the quality of service for Prince George's, for PGC 311, with giving you a new system to utilize. And so I know I did hear Courtney Anderson at the door asking you to sign in, so that way you may receive updates. And if you haven't downloaded the new PGC 311 app, please do so tonight. You may do that using your Android or your iPhone. This app, it is state of the art, and we are now an award-winning service center that many other 311 call centers around the country now model, right? So we're still getting there. It's not all done, but now you may take a picture of a concern, snap it, and it gets downloaded right into our database, and we're able to see. So that way our agencies are able to see the problem and not just read an address, right, or concern. We also have knowledge articles. We understand that you see that trash on the numbered highways and the streets. It is not the county's responsibility. But many residents do not know that. They are state-maintained roads. So now, instead of being able to put in a service request, because we would not be able to handle it, we now give you the information so you know where to direct that concern. We still work with the State Highway Administration because we want our streets cleaned as well, just as any other county, right? But what this application does, it allows us to educate our residents on what we can do and what is not our responsibility. So I do encourage you to download the application, set your account, so that way all your information on PGC 311 is stored. So I can talk about that all night, but I do have my team members here. If you have more questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And there'll be other questions about regarding OCR and how we may assist through the evening. Of course, will be here. So I will turn it over, because you didn't come to see me, county exec, right? and she needs no introduction. She is the best county executive that I've ever had. Yeah. I'll say that. And I think the county doing all amazing things. So I'm going to step off now and allow county executive, will you come up to the mic? They came to see you.
Yes.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am so happy to be here tonight, and I appreciate all of you taking the time out. You could have done anything tonight. I've been at home resting and relaxing, but this is what I love about Prince George's County, how engaged our residents are, and so I just thank you all so much. I also want to salute your leadership. Mayor Thompson Martin is just excellent. And I'm just so grateful for her superb leadership over these years. I'm going to take this off so you can hear me. And I also want to thank the council members. I see you have elected a number of super bad women who are representing you over here in Fairmount Heights. And I'm just so grateful to all of them for their leadership as well, and for this invitation. It means a lot to be invited tonight. I'm really grateful for that. I want to thank Unisha Davis, who you have just heard from. She's one of our fearless leaders, director of the Office of Community Relations. And it doesn't do her or her team, and I want to thank all of the teammates as well from the Office of Community Relations. I don't have enough words, honestly, to tell you how valuable the men and women are of the Office of Community Relations. And if we didn't think they were valuable during COVID, the people who you saw out routinely from day one of COVID, handing out foods, overseeing the vaccinations, overseeing the testing sites, and coming around and helping with that. That was the Office of Community Relations. There was no task too big or too small. These are the single most loving people. And they see their jobs as much more than just a job. This truly has been, for all of them, a calling, and I want to salute them and thank them. They conducted these meetings throughout COVID-19. We had to go to a virtual platform, but we hosted, I don't know how many meetings. I don't even know if we have the number of meetings that we hosted, but they worked harder than anyone I can imagine, so I do want to just thank them so much. I'm joined by other colleagues throughout government tonight from the Department of Public Works and Transportation, the Office of Community Relations, and others who will also be here to answer some of your questions. We have gotten a sense for what some of them are, and so I brought some really amazing people with me who do the work tonight, who can answer some of your questions and concerns about stormwater management and some other things that we know you are very concerned about. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't start by telling you how I love the town of Fairmount Heights, and there's a reason for that. My family, as Mayor Thompson Martin is well aware, the town of Fairmount Heights, as you may know, was incorporated in 1935. It was designated as a town where African Americans were able to live and started schools and churches and other things. But this was a bastion, really, a solid neighborhood and community that has grown over the years. Well, 21 years after it was incorporated in 1935 was when my family came here from Seneca, South Carolina. My mother and grandmother and several other family members. My great-grandfather was murdered in Seneca, South Carolina on July 4th of 1956. And at the time that he was murdered by a sheriff's deputy, what they said was, if you all don't move, we'll kill the whole family. So within a 2-week period, my family was forced to leave Seneca, South Carolina, and came here and eventually settled in Fairmount Heights, Maryland, where my mother went to high school. And so that's how I came to Prince George's County. My family came, was fleeing the racial kind of injustice that was present in Seneca, South Carolina, and found a home in Fairmount Heights. So this is a very special place. I have family members who still live in Fairmount Heights. In fact, my great aunt who came here with the family at that time, who just celebrated her 96th birthday, and whose mind, I promise you, is sharper than mine on any given day of the week. She can remember much more than I can. I think she may be watching on Zoom tonight, but she continues to lead our family, and so Fairmount Heights is where it all started for us, and so I'm just really proud to be here. I just want to go quickly through some of the areas where we have made tremendous progress during COVID, and I should say to all of you once again, how can I thank you enough? Prince George's County stood up during COVID-19 in amazing ways. We showed who we were. We had a battle that was disproportionate to the rest of the region. Nobody had what Prince George's County did in terms of the infections, in terms of the jobless rate that came about. Just challenge after challenge because of many of the pre-existing conditions that were here, those comorbidities, the high blood pressure, diabetes, kidney disease, all the things that, by the way, we had help getting there because of this large number, the food deserts in Prince George's County, the inequitable access to health care. We had help getting to where we were in terms of being so sick during COVID-19 and dying at much higher rates. But I want to say thanks to all of you all, we made it. We looked out for each other. We looked out for our neighbors. We helped feed those who were hungry and who were discouraged. We got those vaccines out, even though it pained me so much. The seniors, you know, I love the seniors in Prince George's, and they threatened to run me out of town if I didn't get those vaccines out more quickly. And so I was so distressed when I learned. They said, well, you know, the seniors said they're going to run you straight out of here if you don't get those vaccinations up and running more quickly. But I say that to say that we ended, and it's not over yet, but going from a place where we had we had great challenges getting out the vaccine and had the highest infection rate, and you all should know that we have continuously really held one of the single lowest infection rates. We kept from January of this year on one of the single lowest infection rates, greatest vaccination rate. I mean, you all went from the bottom to number one in every category, and it is, again, attributable to the great people who are here. But the challenges never leave us. So now that COVID-19 is not in the rearview mirror because we were still wearing masks, right? So as evidence that this is now with us for a while. But the other challenges came. We saw our kids in ways that we could have never imagined pour into the streets, take up arms against us, many of them, with carjackings and armed robberies. And we saw the crime escalate in ways that just baffled and really caused great distress among us. What we realized is that where our carjackings were concerned, for example, about 60% of them were being committed by children. And I do mean children. I mean 16 and under. The youngest armed carjacker, if you can believe it, was 12 years old. And so we arrested our children. The predominance of them are between 12 and 16 years old. And we saw this happening. In escalating numbers. We had about 250 or so more carjackings than we had even last year. So the numbers just continued to escalate. The numbers were just astronomical. And so I made a decision after August, when we had the single deadliest month we had ever experienced since we've been keeping numbers in Prince George's County. And when I learned as well that the carjackings that we were seeing were happening between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. is when they tell me these carjackings were happening. Decided to enforce a curfew that was already on the books. So for those who said I went out and created a curfew to put the kids under house arrest, someone said something like that. Not true. There was already a curfew on the books. And I decided that the best way for us to protect the lives of our children was to engage families, to ask their parents, to ask community leaders to help me in protecting our kids and to make sure that you knew where your kids were. If you have a 14-year-old who's out at 3 a.m. carjacking, there's a serious problem. There is no child who should be anywhere, to be honest with you, on a school night at 12 and 13 years old, shouldn't be out after 10 p.m. during a school night anyway, and much beyond midnight on the weekends. And so decided that in order to protect the lives of our children, as well as to further engage their parents and family members in helping us to protect them, that we would enforce the curfew. Everybody wasn't pleased. My daughter told me, she said, well, I'm soon eligible to vote, but you just lost my vote because of your curfew. She said that she would not be voting for me because of the curfew, and said that many of her friends agreed with her and that I was making her quite unpopular. So I understand she's 17. I understand the kids are not pleased with me. But let me tell you what ended up happening. Once again, Prince Georgians never disappoint. I am so proud of our community. The parents stepped up. The community leaders stepped up, and what we saw after a 30-day period were the following numbers. We realized that we had a 71% drop in homicides during the month of September. We had a 38% drop in overall violent crime, and we had a 59% drop in carjackings during the month of September. Now, we are not out of the woods, so I don't want anybody to go back and say the county executive says we won, because we have not won. We're still having crimes that are being committed, but we saw it was a very interesting piece of information that we were getting, that all of our numbers except commercial robberies. Now, commercial robberies we saw increased. So we did see that one category go up, but every other category, major category, declined precipitously during the month of September, and I decided because of that to continue to the end of the year. We are now approaching the holidays soon. We generally experience an uptick in crime during the holidays, and so I thought it wise to continue the course for now. As we continue to collect data, I'll say this about the curfew. The curfew was never intended to go hunt down kids in the street. That was ridiculous. I would never do such a thing. It was to help us gather information, because I decided that if we sent everybody inside, whoever was still outside would give us important information about what more we needed to do to reach those children and their families. But it allowed us, kind of like any emergency, you call the ambulance, what happens? They bring out the stretcher, and the first thing they say is for everybody else to move aside, right? So that they can focus more keenly on the issue. I thought the curfew would give us a similar opportunity, move everybody else aside, and help us to see more deeply whoever's outside, we can get an idea. And you know what? That's what happened. One mother called 911. One of the interactions we had, she called and she was in an altercation with her son. She was trying to keep him inside during the curfew and called police to say that they were in an altercation. It allowed us to support that family. There was another car that was pulled over. A young woman was in the car with a young guy who had a loaded handgun on his lap. We were able to get the young woman out the car and take her home to her family. And so we had those kinds of interactions. But again, I want to thank all of you all, because families, I know it wasn't easy, but they jumped in and they did keep their kids home. And so we're going to keep going and see what information we gather. We still have a ways to go, but I did want to report to you that we believe that it has so far been successful. We asked Maryland National Capital Park and Planning to keep open recreation centers, to extend the hours, to allow kids additional hours to have access to recreational services. And believe it or not, during the first 30 days, we realized that our families did not avail themselves of the recreation centers, that we didn't see increased usage at the recreation centers. So we decided, you know what, no need in continuing to extend the hours if it wasn't helpful. So we're going to just continue to do more. We had the Summer Youth Enrichment Program, as you all know. Every single child who applied for a job this summer got one. That was the order that was given, is every single child who applied for the Summer Youth Enrichment Program was hired, over 6,000 of them. And we have now we also did the Passport Program with over 1,000 youth who could study entrepreneurship, cosmetology, who went whitewater rafting and did other activities free of charge, to give them and their families the opportunity to really just expand their horizons. We also started the leadership, the Youth Leadership Institute is a new program that we have just started with a small cohort of students who have put in their applications to learn about county government, public service, and community service. And this is a program that we're going to continue to grow as well. We're also pouring into mental health services. I don't know how many of you are aware that this summer, the time is going so quickly, we opened the doors of our mental health care and addictions care facility. Now, I want you to know that we did that by reallocating. I went to the council to ask them to support me in reallocating $20 million that we reallocated away from. We were building a public safety facility, training facility. We still have a training facility, but that I decided that the wisest use of that money was for mental health care and addictions care, because we realized that 70% of the people, if you all can believe this number, 70%, 70 of the people we arrest on any given day and take to our local Department of Corrections in Upper Marlboro are intoxicated when they get there. 70%. We found that a third of all the people, according to our Department of Corrections, that they bring into the correctional facility are taking psychotropic drugs or mentally ill. So we were housing a large number of people who are addicted and who are mentally ill. And in my estimation, you can't heal people in jail. That is not the place you go to heal a person. And so I thought that the best use of our resources was to open up a place where people can actually be healed of their mental illness and addiction. So that facility opened this summer. We take in children as young as 4 years old in the emergency room, 24 hours a day, who are having psychotic episodes or having mental health crises. And that was on an outpatient basis. We're going to be opening the inpatient portion of it starting at the top of the year. And we are now opening a continuum of behavioral health centers across the county. We have one opening in Clinton, Maryland, and we're going to continue. The number one health needs assessment, we did a health needs assessment in 19, and it came back that the number one health need we have in Prince George's County is behavioral health. The number one health need that we have is behavioral health. This is a behavioral health desert, meaning this is, if you could, again, this was the first of its kind. I don't know if that blows your mind. It blows mine. We have nearly 1 million people here. No addictions care and no mental health care facility prior to now. So we did open that. I want you to know that we also went to Annapolis with our delegation, who did an amazing job this past year in Annapolis. We fought hard in Annapolis. We went there with the attitude that we were not going to beg for the money that is your tax dollar. We wanted every penny of it that belonged to us to come back, and we have some very significant health needs. I don't have time to tell you all of it tonight, but trust me when I say one of the number one issues, especially going into this second term, is going to be your health. Because we have, in this county, we, for example, have about 60 beds per 100,000. Just to give you some idea about how behind we are, Montgomery County, which is similar in size, has 120 beds per 100,000. They have double the beds, which means that most of our residents go into D.C., Anne Arundel County, Northern Virginia to get their care. 80% of the women who deliver babies here go to Holy Cross. They go outside of Prince George's County. I think we should be able to get health care where we live and not go elsewhere. The thing we've been told by that health commission that decides when we build hospitals, how many beds we have, they have told us as recent as about 3 weeks ago that there was no need, they found, to expand the bed space in Prince George's because we have access to Holy Cross. In Montgomery County, the proximity, we're close enough to Shady Grove and the other places that we can simply access medical care there. They missed the point. We deserve for our family members to be cared for where they live, and that's what we have to continue to fight for. You should know that when we built the new hospital in Largo, I don't know how many people know this, we just cut the ribbon. Well, when we cut the ribbon on that new hospital, since the 7th day we opened it, we've operated at 98% capacity. So when you hear on the news and they try to shame us and say, look at these people, 12 and 13 hours in the emergency room and how disgusting it is at the new hospital, it's because it was built too small. The one that we opened was smaller than the one we closed over in Cheverly. And again, that was done because there is a board that makes decisions about how we get certificates of need. And we were told that in order they couldn't justify opening the hospital at the footprint that we originally designed, and that the only way we could get our certification was to cut 2 floors off that hospital, which is what we did. So we built the hospital 2 floors shy of the original design, and we are now at 98% capacity. So we're going to continue to work to get that addressed. But the other need that we were able to address right away was a cancer center. Prince George's County has the highest incidence of breast cancer, colorectal cancer, lung cancer, and prostate cancer in the region. No cancer center. Every other major county in the state had a cancer center. So I went to Governor Hogan and said, this is a serious need that we have, and he saw it, and actually our delegation worked really hard. We got $67 million this past legislative session, and I want you all, when you go by the boulevard, to see the building is coming out the ground, our brand new cancer center that is opening in Prince George's County. Across from that, you'll notice where the boulevard used to be is also another medical office building. You all are like, why should we be excited about a medical office building? Well, let me tell you why. Most of us go outside the county for primary care. The only way to build the kind of health system that we need in Prince George's is to attract to us more primary care physicians to give preventative care. And so the office building is a way for us, the first tool for us to start recruiting doctors who have left our county, many of whom live here, and ask them to bring their practices back to Prince George's County and care for us here. So you'll see the medical building at the Boulevard, you'll see one at the National Harbor, but in other words, I want you to know health care is a number one priority for me to make. If we're not well, what else is there? Right. What else is there? I don't care what business you build and how many of them you open. If we're not healthy, how do we enjoy it? And so health care is the number one issue. We are also working rapidly to address another issue that you all threatened to expel me out of the county with the litter. They said, you know, one thing, if this girl doesn't get hold of this trash, we're going to kick her out along with the trash. I get it. You know, listen, I'm not a bad student. I get it. I heard it. I saw the messages and that hurt my feelings on social media. You know what? But as it should be, because we deserve to live in a place that reflects the pride that we feel in our community. I have been here for 51, almost 52 years. I'm proud of Prince George's County, but our community's streets don't always reflect it. You heard Director Davis say that, you know, by point of information, I do receive quite a few really nasty people cuss me out about 210. They want to know about 301, Route 4. We want to know why in the world 202. Y'all get where I'm going with this, right? So she told you that all the numbered roads are state roads, and those roads are maintained by the state. And you know what? Quite frankly, and I think they ought to be honest about it, they have not done an amazing job. They really have not done an amazing job. And so we've been working with State Highway Administration. We just recently finished or are concluding a blitz on Route 4. I drove down that road. I just couldn't believe it. Just utterly disrespectful, the way that some of the roads have been maintained. Now, they don't share all the burden because our roads, some of them were utterly disgusting too. So we have, I've instructed that we would have a blitz. I wanted all hands on deck to put, as they say, lottie-dottie and everybody on these roads to pick up the trash, the litter, to cut the grass, and to make it sure it looked like it should. Now, again, we are working with the state. We are concerned that our roads are not being kept in the same condition as others. I've been told, you know, we just hired a director from the Department of Public Works and Transportation who worked in Anne Arundel. I'm just being blunt. And he said he's never seen, you know, that there's a little difference in the way that the response is. And so we're working on that to make sure that our roads are responded to the same way that other jurisdictions' roads are responded to. But you'll see a difference. It's a 120-day program. We so far have picked up in the first 4 weeks of the blitz 108 tons of litter. We've mowed 972 acres of grass and cleaned 378 curb miles with street sweepers on our county-maintained roads. But I need your help in passing one other bit of information along. As my father often says, litter doesn't grow like grass. And so, in other words, it is the case that I would love to spend the millions of your tax dollars that I spend cleaning trash up. I'd love to do what real beautification is, which is planting trees and flowers and mulch and other things. It should not be the case that we're spending millions and millions of your tax dollars cleaning trash. I just want you to know that is not beautification. We've come to associate that with beautification. That's not beautification. And so we have to also change the culture, the mindset that says it is not acceptable for you to drive to the stoplight and throw your Chick-fil-A out the window. Or for these people who, it burns me up. And I just realized at some point, I really can't stop every time I see it. I was stopping my car, yanking those signs out of the median strips, the ones that advertise how they can power wash your house, tutor your children, and help you earn $175 a month or whatever the signs advertise. It just made me so angry that I pulled over my car and would start picking the signs up and putting them in my trunk. But it's a lot of miles in the county. I'm not going to be able to make it. So I decided, I can't make it. But I just say the mindset that we have to also hold each other accountable. That when we have cleaned the streets, I'm worried already about Route 4. After we quadrupled our efforts, we want people to maintain it. Stormwater management is a long-term also priority for the county. Climate change is a real thing. Anybody who says any different, we would challenge them, because we've seen now 500-year floods. You know, the things they say couldn't happen, and we have seen them increasingly in Prince George's County also. And so we are making really historic investments in stormwater management to try to really stay ahead of climate change. And so we'll be making about a $500 million investment over the next 6 years, making sure that we are working to improve our stormwater management and other environmental projects to make sure that we're keeping the storm drains and improving streams and really also mitigating floods. And so we're working to make sure that we're doing our part to be responsible where the environment is concerned, and we're spending $500 million, really thanks also in part to support we got from the federal government, American Rescue Plan dollars we have allocated to stormwater management and to many other projects. And so we want to thank also the town of Fairmount Heights for assisting us in many of those efforts also. So I think economic development is the last one I want to talk to you about. You know, I'll speak about it in this way. There was a misperception. I'm just going to, because we don't have a lot of time. I kept hearing, the county is overdeveloped. Oh, we're giving everything away to developers. Now, we have to be responsible in the way we develop our county, but let me just also tell you this. Prince George's County's budget, which is now $5 billion, although the district, which has probably 700,000 residents, has a $19.5 billion budget, due in part to commercial taxes. Prince George's County pays disproportionately about 70% of what we pay for public safety, education, to clean these roads up, when people want sidewalks repaired and all of that. 70% of the taxes, the revenues that we collect to provide the goods and services that you need come from your residential property taxes. That's a problem. 70% of the revenues we generate are from residential property taxes. That means that we support the government on the backs of the people who live here. Only 30% of all the tax revenues that we collect come from commercial or business taxes. This is the exact opposite of Montgomery County. 70% of all of the revenues they collect come from commercial or business taxes. Only 30% come from their residential property taxes. The choice is ours. Either we pay for the services or the businesses pay. And I would say in order to balance this, we have to grow the economy. Now, we're not going to do so on the backs of residents. We ought to grow it in a way that is responsible and provides the goods and services that we need. But we do need to encourage business. We have to, in order to grow the pie so we have more tax revenues to pay for the goods and services that the people here need. We're doing that in a smart way. We have decided that we would grow our economy by investing around metro stations. There are 15 of them. So transit-oriented development is the approach that we have used. So you'll see this in smart places like New Carrollton. I don't know if you all have been by New Carrollton. Has anyone seen New Carrollton? It's unbelievable, right? It's amazing. WMATA decided to put their headquarters there, Kaiser's headquarters there, 2U Technology Company. We're putting a hotel there. They're redoing that metro station at New Carrollton. So that is $1 billion project. When it's all done, multifamily dwellings are coming up there. And don't tell my good friend Mayor Bowser this, that we're celebrating, but they're closing Union Station to do renovations. And during those couple of years, all the traffic that went through Union Station is now routed through New Carrollton. So New Carrollton is becoming the premier transit hub on the eastern seaboard. So New Carrollton is an amazing project. Not only will you see that at New Carrollton, but the Blue Line Corridor that has not seen any investment. We're talking about coming from the D.C. line all the way up 214, going toward Morgan Boulevard. Well, we have fought hard, and I have to tell you, and I appreciate Governor Hogan on this one. We had a really spirited discussion, and he agreed to make a $400 million investment in the neighborhoods around FedEx Field. Now, you heard us say around FedEx Field because we don't know what Dan Snyder might decide. He's an interesting guy. But we know that what we do know is that we do not want the people who live in our communities to be held hostage to whatever his decision is. Stay or go, we are investing in communities around FedEx Field. $400 million in bonding authority for the first time. Prince George's County has never been able to utilize the Maryland Stadium Authority to build anything. We're one of the only counties that has not built. They built the Ravens Stadium. When they start saying, but we don't want to use tax dollars to build a football stadium and then use that as a principled stance. Well, we have. They built the Ravens Stadium using your tax dollars. They built the Orioles Stadium using your tax dollars. And let me tell you, this past session spent another $600 million to renovate the Ravens Stadium. We used $600 million to renovate the Orioles Stadium. Decided this past legislative session to give the team another $600 million. We gave $400 million to rebuild Pimlico, the racetrack where the Preakness happens, and I don't begrudge them at all. They want to be able to invest in their communities, but I just share that with you to say the tax dollars are being spent on these stadiums and such, and so we want to be able to build our communities too. We want investments to come. These same tax dollars that you pay, they should be spent here also. So we got $400 million around FedEx, $200 million set aside. I want y'all to pray hard that the FBI headquarters, that decision is going to be announced soon. And we've been calling everybody, the White House. They are tired of hearing from me. They want no more messages from me. In fact, they're not returning my messages anymore about the FBI. But $200 million we got from the state for that. So we're very happy about it. But we're going to continue to make these investments and continue to build along the Blue Line corridor, walkable, bikeable spaces. You can expect an amphitheater. We have just gotten the last $20 million. I don't want to go see Erykah Badu at the Merriweather Post Pavilion, not another time. I want her here. Okay, so you all want to come to these concerts here as well, right? When I go other places, don't you see a good number of Prince Georgians who are at these facilities at Wolf Trap and at Merriweather Post Pavilion? Why can't we be entertained at home? So I went to Annapolis, and we now have the additional $20 million, and you'll soon be hearing more about the amphitheater that we're building right here in Prince George's County for our families. So, so those are some of what I could go on, but I just want you to know, again, that we are developing in a way that is responsible. We will do so to make sure that we are able to build our tax base here, again, so that we can educate our children, provide health care for our seniors. We're doing affordable housing. We invested, I believe it's about $40 million this past year to make sure that as all of this happens in the growth, we don't want to push out the people who have helped make Prince George's Prince George's. So affordable housing is also high on our list to make sure our seniors have places to live and our young families have places to live in our families. So those are some of the things. I will stop there. If you all have any questions, Mayor, am I allowed to answer questions now? Okay, any questions, I'm so happy to answer them. But I just want to say also, I should be remiss if I didn't thank you all for re-electing me in July. I am just so grateful to be able to continue as your county executive. I appreciate it. Love, love, love serving here. May I answer your question?
Yeah.
Good evening.
My name is Paul Jackson. I reside at 714 62nd Avenue. First, let me acknowledge you. It was a magnificent cheering from you. It was educating. It was empowering. Gave us a sense of pride. Your accomplishments have been many, and I want to acknowledge that before I tell you why I was so compelled to come this evening. You're doing a marvelous job, and I thank God for you, and I pray that you continue to have the zeal and the zest that you have during your time. It should be commended, and it should be respectfully acknowledged. I'm doing my part to say I appreciate what you're doing. I thank you for what you're doing. Your administration has made great inroads in our county, and you have personified excellence, passion, and commitment. And I thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
All right. While I was compelled to make it this evening, not just because you were coming, but so that I could have two things responded to. We're paying high taxes, but you shared with us a great part of what the taxes are doing and the impact that they're having. Still, they're high, very high. They don't seem to be getting any less. It's become somewhat exorbitant in the amount that we're putting out. I've been here almost 30 years, constantly going up, okay? But I think some kind of emphasis or education should be on climate control. We touched on that. Solar is something that is here, it's not going anywhere. And more people need to be educated to embrace what we are challenged with as far as not only this planet and our communities, but everywhere. Solar is something that can benefit so many. And then the perks that come, that incentivize having solar, should be passed on to those who don't know. When you know better, you can do better. When you don't know, you don't know. Education empowers. Education allows you to take action. I have been able to benefit from this. My wife wasn't on board 5 years ago, but timing is everything. Now she's on board. So we are feasting and enjoying having made that decision. I would like to bring more people into the knowledge. So maybe something could be set up that would allow people to be educated about climate control, the benefit that solar has, and why one needs to move in this direction. The government is incentivizing programs that will allow for this to come about. But people don't know, so they don't take advantage of what they don't know. The second part of what I wanted to ask you, over there at Wayne Curry's administration building, you familiar with that, right?
Yes, the one, yeah.
All right.
Where my office is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm like, is there another Wayne K. Curry building? Yes.
I missed out on $5,000, which was one of the perks that came from me making a commitment to go to solar. It was communicated to me that the funding had been exhausted. It was money no longer available for those who made the commitment to go in this direction. $5,000. It was shared with me that I would be able to realize this in 2030. I don't have that kind of time to wait for that kind of return.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out what happened and why is it that it was underfunded and why only 50,000 was allotted for so many people who moved in this direction. Can you speak to that?
You know what, Mr. Jackson, I can't. I'll have to get you some information. I don't know whether, Eunice, do you have information about the 5,000?
I don't, but I do have some information about climate control.
Yeah, we have that part, but Mr. Jackson, let us get you specific information about that one. I have to tell you, this is the first I'm hearing about the $5,000 program.
My information?
I will be happy to, yes. Yes, I would be happy to. And let me just tell you this. So there are a number of programs that we have working through our Department of Environment. Andrea Kroom is doing a great job, our director, making sure that we are really using smart environmental practices through our climate action plan. So solar we are having opportunities, especially as we are retrofitting our buildings and making changes to our buildings. But we're also using electric vehicles. We purchased a number of electric buses. You probably saw that Vice President Kamala Harris came here because our jurisdiction is leading in that area. But in fact, Prince George's County is leading in most of these areas involved in the environment. We have, for example, the largest composting facility on the East Coast. We lead in recycling in the state. So we are leading in a number of areas that people just are not aware of. We're doing, again, record investments in where storm water management is concerned. So we are really trying to make sure that we're preserving the planet for our children. So we are doing that. But I want to get your information, Mr. Jackson, and I'll follow up with your specific question about the money. Thank you. Yes.
There's a Green Summit this Saturday that will be hosted by the Department of the Environment at Kentland Community Center, October 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So there you go
Saturday.
Kent Land Community Center.
Okay, thank you, Director Davis.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Oh, and then I'll come back to you, ma'am. Yes.
How you doing? My name's Henry Glover. Sorry. Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good
There
evening.
we go.
Yes, my name is Henry Glover, and I was fortunate to meet your father and your mother and your grandaunt.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I've been knowing your father since the 80s. But what I want to ask you about the policy on pit bulls in Prince George's County. You know, so I would love to see you guys, keep that in force.
So that's something that the council, of course, is working on because the legislation comes through the council. You should know that this is an issue, it's very timely. In fact, probably the last meeting I had before I came here tonight was one about information that they are discussing regarding the way that the breed is described in charging documents and that kind of thing. So this is a big issue because Prince George's is, as I understand it, one of only 3 jurisdictions in the country with the ban. And so this is something that the council will have to decide about how they're going to handle it. But you should know this is a big issue that is being taken up there, and we're going to engage in it and make sure that from our side, we're making recommendations that will keep us safe. I think that will hold owners accountable for making sure that their dogs are not harming citizens or harming other dogs. I think ultimately that's what we all want, is a community where we're safe.
Most of them don't like kids, so you got your little grandkids playing in the yard or whatever, and then you got a dog, the average 5 or 6 foot fence,
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not safe.
Yeah. So that's what we ultimately all want,
Right.
is to make sure that we are free from harm. But the legislation is something that the council has to take up and make a decision about. But we'll be weighing in on it. I
Well,
can
it's
tell
a
you.
pleasure knowing your family.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
And
oh gosh, they are wonderful. And you say you know my dad. He's a talkative
Yeah, oh,
guy,
yeah.
right? Yeah, talkative guy.
I met him in the 80s,
Yeah, yeah.
back when he was selling cars.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I get it honest. He's also Brooks of Talkers. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, again, we hate to bother you all with, excuse me, with the mic, but we have, we're on Zoom. So when we're passing the mic, people on the line, they can't hear, that should use the mic.
My name is Gwen Vanderloo, and I have a property issue. After purchasing property, 5 years later, someone moved on the property. And I have a property issue. I think you may need to talk to me probably private somewhere, another date or appointment, because I have a problem with inheritance property. Someone living in a house in the middle of our property, and we haven't signed for them to be there. And I want to know, get a feeling of who decided to give our property away.
Okay.
That's why I'm.
Ms. Vanderloo, we'll have to get your
Yeah.
information if you don't mind. Somebody's right behind you now,
Okay.
preparing to get your information, and we'll follow. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Washington, hold 1 second so we can hear you. We have some neighbors on Zoom.
Yeah.
Hi,
All right. Good evening.
good evening. My name is Angela Washington, and I know you spoke about the FBI possibly coming to Prince George. So I wanted to know if, I had heard that they were going to move to the old Landover Mall on 202. Is that the case? And if they're not, what's going to happen to that property? It's been sitting idle for like years now.
It has been. So the FBI, there are 3 final sites. Dwindled down from, you all may not know this, there were 35 original sites.
Oh, yeah.
When this process started, there were 35 original sites. And the process of elimination and through competitive bidding, Prince George's County ended up with 2 of the last 3 sites to be. So there are 3 final sites that are being considered for the new headquarters for the FBI. One is in Springfield, Virginia. One is here in Greenbelt, and the other is in Landover, at the Landover Mall site. So we don't know which site would be chosen. I have to tell you, and I do mean this, from an equity standpoint and from a technical standpoint, our sites are superior sites. The qualification said that it needed to be proximate to transit. Our Greenbelt site, for example, is the only of the three that is at a metro. So that should have satisfied that qualification. Our sites are less expensive to develop. The one in Springfield already has a federal presence. They tell me it's going to cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 to $500 million to relocate them and to begin to prepare the site. Our sites are ready to be acquired right away and are cheaper than the Springfield site. They also said equity would play into this. Prince George's County is home to 20% of the federal workforce. So of the 600,000+ federal employees who live in this region, 20% of them live in Prince George's, but we host 4% of the jobs. That's different than Fairfax, that already hosts 15% of the jobs, and we house the people here. And of the 4%, we have 48% of that is warehouse space. We want office space in Prince George's. So in order to rebalance those opportunities, we believe that we are due the next opportunity. Only fair. NIH is in Montgomery County. You see what it did for them. Look at what the Pentagon did for Northern Virginia. That's the kind of impact we're talking about in terms of bringing between 8,000 and 11,000 employees on this new site. Your question is, what happens if they do not select Landover Mall? I have to tell you this, and I'm glad you asked the question. What most people don't understand is most of the land in Prince George's County is privately owned land. So for the people who are frustrated about why one use or another, now there are zoning laws and other processes they have to go through, but most of the land here is privately owned land, which means I can't tell a private landowner what to do with their land. That land is owned by the Lerner families, the same family that owns Tyson's Corner Mall, that owns the Nationals baseball team. That's the Lerner family. They own the land at Landover Mall and have and can make the decision about whether to do anything at all with the land. The land went up for sale. It was $1 million per acre, and it's a 60-acre site. Very expensive land. They are very excited. I've talked to the Lerners as recently as last week. They are very excited about the prospect of the FBI coming to their site. They are really excited about that and are hopeful. And we're hopeful that one of the sites here will be selected. If it's Landover, that would be great. If it's Greenbelt, that would be great also. But if it doesn't come, I think they have some other uses in mind. I think they're ready to develop that land. But again, it is not, the government cannot force them. They own it free and clear. It's like if you owned a plot of land, nobody could tell you when to develop your land. And that's true for most of the property you'll see here. All of these shopping centers, strip malls, all of those things are owned by private owners, and we have to try to incentivize them to do the right thing and to bring the right uses here. The largest concentration of publicly owned land we have is along the Blue Line corridor. That's why we have decided to concentrate our efforts along that Blue Line corridor, 214 going down Central Avenue, because we thought if we made certain investments to make it walkable, bikeable, to make sure that those are spaces that can be used, we would attract private investment to us, and they would come and develop around those areas. So that's our strategy, is to first make the publicly owned land, to invest in the infrastructure, to widen the road, and again, make it bikeable, walkable, to make it connected nature. We put $4 million into a trail along it. But anyway, you get the picture, is that I don't know what the Lerners will do. We'll keep working with them, but it is their land. And I remember, like you, when it was Landover Mall, they had a Garfinkel's and a movie theater in there. When I'm telling on my age, but I was there when we could go to Farrell's. But we hope it comes back to a use that the community can be proud of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Any other questions?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Tammy Hester. I'm a resident of Fairmount Heights. And like Mr. Jackson, you have absolutely touched Prince George's County with what you're doing. Your focus on mental health, I don't think people really understand. We didn't have that service here, and we didn't have substance abuse services. We had small agencies that work on those things, House of Ruth or Safe Haven or places like that, but to have your investment in that, I applaud you. And the stance that you took with the January 6th committee and providing Prince George's County to assist the Capitol, I don't think the nation knew how strong you were, but today they absolutely do. So I am a huge fan of yours.
Thank you. Thank
but
you.
I ask you, how can we get your administration and your staff to work closely with the town of Fairmount Heights. You know, living here for over 22 years now, I'm watching development in Chevrolet and Seat Pleasant and all over. And for whatever reason, we just don't seem to be able to obtain the grant or the funding that's necessary to bring it in specifically into Prince George's County or into Fairmount Heights directly. You know, we need help. And I know, I've personally, and I know I've seen familiar faces who've also said, we've called council members over the years, and they've literally said to us word for word, until and unless you get a real government in place, there's nothing we can do for you. And I've heard this several times over the course of years, and we need help to be able to get some of that revenue, especially the revenue coming from the federal government, and especially as we're waiting for this continuing resolution that we believe money will pour into Prince George's County in hopes to get it here. We need help in deciding what to do with the 4 acres of land that we have. We see development even at Aquatic Gardens where we know housing is coming. How can we get that here? How can we even get a grocery store in our area? And, you know, when I have to drive, which to some may not seem far, but to Wegmans or Safeway that's way away just to get a gallon of milk, it's frustrating. Yeah. When you look at that Citgo gas station, although it's not Fairmount Heights, it affects us because it looks like that is us and that's our community. And people don't want to move here because of those things. So how can we get your administration to work with our town to get things accomplished?
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Hester, for that. And I think that's a great point. Yes, very, very well stated. Well, I can tell you what the commitment will be from tonight. We do have our municipal liaison, Denise, who I know works well with the town. But Mayor, what I'd like to do is to organize a meeting with you and the council and others and bring over our economic development team. Can we just talk about what some of the opportunities are and, and just decide what kinds of things you would like to see and see what strategy we can put in place to make it happen. So I will make that commitment to bring our team and sit at the table. You talked about the 4 acres. I can tell you the grocery stores, I got blown out of Annapolis, and I'm okay with this. We put in some legislation, and hear me out on this. Now, first of all, let me just tell you, I haven't had to quote the number in a while. Is it 235, I believe we have liquor stores in Prince George's County. In the Inner Beltway, we have 2 per square mile. Now, if you don't think that's a problem, I think Montgomery County has like 16 liquor stores. So we have been overrun with liquor stores here because the liquor laws in Maryland are so antiquated. And again, I'd need all night to explain it to you. We had help getting here, but we are only one of 8 states with these crazy liquor laws that basically create monopolies and empower the liquor stores over other businesses. So I went to Annapolis and said, we need more grocers in these food deserts. What you just described in terms of having to go to Wegmans, you're right, it's outrageous. You should not have to get in your car and go miles and miles to get groceries. That's not normal. It's not what we anticipate. There are strategies that we were trying to put in place, some tools so that we could attract grocers to us. One of the tools that we used was to have beer and wine licenses in certain parts, in our not inner belt, but in our food desert areas, in the low income, low access areas. The reason I say that is this: DC has it, Northern Virginia has them, Montgomery County has maybe 12 of them, and what we find is that it is an economic decision. In other words, these grocers don't come because they like us. They don't come because there's a social justice reason to. There has to be a business case made for why they would come here. And many of them have said, similar to the Costco, if you go into D.C., I don't know who's been over to, what's it called, Fort Hill, or the place where they have, Fort Lincoln, thank you, Fort Lincoln, where they have the Costco, where they're able to sell wine. And so grocers come and they tell us, the Trader Joe's and some of the other grocers say that they need to be able to make, there's a very thin profit margin for grocers. Apparently it's a 2 to 3% profit margin. And they said in some of the low income, low access areas, otherwise known as food deserts, the way they could make up the additional profit would be able to sell beer and wine. When I was in Annapolis trying to introduce this, they said, well, you're going to hurt liquor stores. This was the argument. and that these are valuable small businesses in our community and that they needed protection. And many voted, our delegation eventually voted to support what we were doing to try to bring the grocers in. But there was a whole lobby. I got to be honest. They're telling me that I was going to be hurting liquor stores, and this was not going to happen. So that's not the only tool we have. I don't drink liquor, so I'm not here saying that, that even though that's another story. I went to a senior home and told this story, and they raised their hand and said, we do like to have a cocktail. So I don't know what you're saying to us tonight, but I'm not saying here that I'm interested in more liquor, but we have to have as many tools available to us to attract grocers. And again, they do not come out of the goodness of their heart. They come if I can make a business case about how they're going to make some money and the way to make it up. So we'll keep working. Let's sit down with the town, and we'll bring our team over and see what we can do.
Okay. Oh, Royal Farms. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you also, now I've gotten cussed out about the Royal Farms. Let me tell you
Testing.
who you should talk
Testing
to, your council people. Do you know that the county executive has no vote where zoning and land use is concerned?
Okay.
I do not. So for all the people who said I was so interested in developers and whatever, the county council deals with land
County
use,
council.
yes,
Okay.
and development, and not the county executive. So the Royal Farms, those votes happen in your council.
Okay. Okay.
County Executive Alsterbrooks, thank you for coming. It's a pleasure hearing from you and all the good things that are going on in and around the PG County area. But I want to also bring it right home here to Fairmount Heights. We have a lot of issues that have already been mentioned. The food desert is really a big issue, and I don't want to reiterate that, but it is something that needs to be looked into. We need a site for us to have a grocery store. We also have the environmental issues that are a concern. I'm one of the persons that lives next to a junkyard, and I know that it was said that years back there was supposedly some environmental testing being done on the junkyard, and I never heard any more about it. And I'm here to ask and make sure that some environmental testing is concluded and the information is distributed around Fairmount Heights, because it has been a big issue. Another issue is our streets. The front of Fairmount Heights, you come in, it's a big pothole. Year after year after year after year. They patch it up. It comes back.
What street is that, ma'am?
This is J Street, Josh Street.
It's J.
J and Josh.
Yeah.
It's both of them. They have a recurrent pothole, huge potholes. And that it gets patched up every 5 years or so, and it's back again. And we keep asking about it. We call down to the council. We can't talk to anyone. I've left messages. I've sent emails. It's ridiculous. It's frustrating. And frankly, we pay too much taxes and too much money to live here and not have a decent street. And we need another thing that we need that needs to happen is we need speed bumps looked into.
Okay.
There are so many people that are coming from the DC line that are just zooming across into Fairmount Heights, and several times we've had accidents, and cars have been hit, and it's been shootings. It's just so much stuff that a person who's really trying to live here and build a family, we can't do it. It's not feasible. But yet, and still, we can go to other sites in PG County and we see development and everything, but we can't get anything happening here in our own Fairmount Heights. And for us to be incorporated since 1935, a historical landmark site, and we can't get any development, we should be on top, and we're on the bottom. And I don't understand it. I don't understand.
Well, I really appreciate what you shared, and let me tell you, I see Director Davis writing. So Jay and Josh Street. Anybody here from Department of Public Works and Transportation who might be able to jump in here?
I'm from Public Works and on the stormwater side, so we could definitely talk with the highway maintenance about that.
It needs to be repaved, not patched, patched, repaved, and the speed bump. The stop sign that's right there by the junkyard is ignored. I mean, and people speed
So some
through
speed
there.
calming devices too. Well, we can
Yeah.
conduct speed studies and then get the information we need for the humps. So the humps, we're talking about the repaving. There was an initial point you raised.
And
at
the
very
environmental
beginning. And
testing
environmental.
on,
Okay, the
on that
testing.
junkyard.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
junkyard. If you don't mind us getting your information, tell me your last name.
I'm Diana Hall.
Okay, Ms. Hall, can we get your information and have somebody call you? Oh, there we are. Dorite is already taking it down. So we'll get the
Absolutely.
information and follow up
Thank
with you.
you.
Thank you.
If you have any other
Okay.
pothole concerns,
Okay.
we can actually get those entered in the system this evening. So if anyone
Okay.
has pothole concerns on their street, we can, sidewalks, we can get everything entered into the system tonight, okay?
Okay. Okay.
As of Thursday, we have asked to get the speed bumps, the money allocated for the speed bumps, and we have also.
Layout of it, we don't have in front of us. So when we start jumping ahead, if we tell everybody we're gonna do certain streets or how it's gonna be outlined, we're not gonna be accurate. So I think it's accurate to say that we're in the process, we've been working on that for a while because we know how important the humps are. And because people race and speed through this whole town, and it's really detrimental. The funding is, we're working within those parameters, but the process is about to be unfolded, and there's no sense in us saying which streets, and we don't have it directly in front of us.
Okay.
So it's a working project, and it's coming close to the finalized stages of it. Let me put it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor Tompkins, and I've heard about these speed bumps for
Mhm.
a while now.
Yeah.
And about beautifying Fairmount Heights, I've talked personally about it some years ago through my youth reform.
Mhm.
So when something is going to start happening,
Yeah.
this has been going on for over 20 years now. So when is it going to actually be put in place?
Well, the speed hump portion of it, we can say that is close because we had a special meeting, I think it's been like a week ago, with the treasurer on the finalized bids for the speed humps. At first, there was a problem with getting the bids because we didn't have enough people actually that were giving us the feedback to say, well, we'll take your contract, we can work within your price line and everything like that. So we're getting closer to that point. I wouldn't put a date out here because I wouldn't actually be accurate with it. I don't have that, but expect to see it very soon. Also a part of that would be like a public hearing where people can come and talk about the pros and cons of whether they desire the speed humps. And what we've heard, it's been a while now, people want them because it will slow the traffic down. They want to do something, whatever's going to help to slow that traffic down. Because coming off of Addison Road or coming off of Sheriff Road, we get a lot of pass-through. We get pass-through traffic that comes through here every day and every night. So we want to do what we can. And I hear what Ms. Hall is saying also concerning the potholes. Until our streets are completely resurfaced, we don't have the capacity to keep it. You put the patch in, and when the weather gets cold and it freezes, after a while, it comes out. So we would love it. When we first heard about ARPA funding, we would say, oh, that would be great. We could actually get our streets resurfaced. Not true. It would take much more money than that to resurface all of our streets. So, we're trying to do, down in Ocean City during the summer, they had a company coming out of Ohio that had a new formula, a patch formula. And we wanted to take a look at that. I don't know how far we'll get on that, but we have to find some solution to get these streets in better condition because there are a lot of streets that need that help. A lot of streets. And I want to before we go any further, I want to make another comment concerning the EPA. Now, I don't know whether Mr. Pinckney is still here, but he can tell you who he's contacted in EPA or what office or what person concerning that whole situation with the junkyard tremendos over on J Street. I realize that's a horrible problem from the very beginning when you first moved there, because I remember when you first moved there, but the residue that comes off of that hill and that from the cars, and we seen that, I think he's thinking that probably that large pothole is coming from that junkyard. Because they pull a lot of cars in, they take them out, they're on the sidewalk. It's a lot of things happening there. The other pothole that you were talking about on Joss Street, that particular one was Washington Gas. Okay, they came out, they patched it. It didn't stay. I was through there day before yesterday. I see it's a patch on it now, but you can tell as soon as it freezes, it's going to come back out. So these are the issues that we deal with on a weekly, daily, or monthly basis. It's a lot of issues for small town living, and when you're working within a certain budget. Yeah. So, huh?
We've been talking about that for 20 years.
I understand, and it's all I can tell you, but at least I can answer that by saying that. That's all I can really tell you, and I hope to see it improve very soon. Well, with the whole situation with Mr. Pinckney, I want him to talk too about what he learned from EPA. Now, I think he's out there in the corridor. But
also, when you call somebody, who do you talk to? Who's working during the day?
oh, in the building here?
And call, and there's never anyone answering the phone.
Yeah.
From the police department to the
Well,
mayor's office.
okay.
To the council.
Well, you can't ring in directly with me. If you call me directly, you have to dial on the 8585 number. But if you email,
Call, a return email.
well, I know I returned the last email that you sent to me. I returned because I remember sitting out here in the hall talking with you, and I told you what I knew and what I could.
I emailed you 3 months ago about that pothole.
No,
Yes, you
not,
did.
well, if so, I sent a returned email. Now, I'm sorry about that, Ms. Hall. Okay.
Okay, hi, good, good,
Okay.
Informed of what's going on with these
You want me to say?
projects. 20 years passed by.
Let's get this show back on.
Like, can you just keep us informed?
Sure. Yeah, we're going to try another method also. Actually, what we normally do is try to either have it on the have information on the website. We try to do, it's harder because our newsletter hasn't really been continuous like it used to be. We didn't have anybody with that. Sometimes we're really not sure whether everybody's reading that, but if you feel like you're going to continue to read the newsletter, we have Council Member White, I know, will be working on it. I don't know who else will be working with her. Yeah, but I'm just trying to see what, because we're about to get, yeah.
Is there one more question? Is there one more question from the gentleman?
Okay.
You want one more question? So he was next.
Well, okay, because we're going to get way down the road on. Okay.
After her question.
Oh. Were you going to, did you have a question you want to answer?
You have to walk up to the mic, sir, because it can't reach.
And then you have the Zoom participants as well.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I've been living here. My name is Dean Cooks, and I'm a former mayor and council member here, and I've been here my whole entire life. And we've had problems with some issues, and I heard our county exec hit on one, and that was the tax problem here. I've been watching the tax steady go up, and I'm looking at what we've been getting for our buck, and it didn't look good. And she touched on it. I was glad to hear you tonight mention that. And also, hopefully we can get some help with that. But one of the things that really troubled me was the fact that the roads are terrible. The state highways are horrible. I've seen them come straight down through Sea Pleasant. And what they do is get to a certain point at Fairmount Heights and stop. We have craters, I mean big ones, tearing people's cars up. They go straight, stop right in front of the main highway in Fairmount Heights and leave it right there. Then they'll stop. You can go all the way up to Addison Road, and the bumps just continue. The same thing on Sheriff Road. Big craters been there for 5, 10 years and more, and no one even attempted to fix them. In addition to that, we have huge problems in the town with gas, actually gas leaks. I've had to call Washington Gas and have them come out and fix a huge leak in front of my home. I was frightened. I thought the block was going to blow up at one point. It was that bad. And I kept calling them over and over again. And they finally came out, and the gentleman that came out, he was the leader. He looked at me and said, Mr. Cooks, you have a terrible problem here. He called the crew out there about 2 o'clock in the morning, and they started immediately to repair the leak. It was that bad. They came around the corner, found another leak right around here by the town municipal center. They repaired that as well. The mayor, she was aware of it, and he said, we have leaks all over the town. Now, I don't know what they were supposed to do about it, but he told me they were going to get right on it and start. I haven't seen or heard a word from them since. You can ride through this town and you will hear and then smell the gas and hear it as well. Washington Gas hadn't done a thing, and I've been calling them over and over again to no avail. Nothing has happened. So
we can
that's the issue.
help. You said Mr. Cooks?
Cooks.
Cooks.
Dean
We
Cooks.
can get your information, sir, and follow up with Washington Gas. I had not heard the issue regarding the gas leaks. And on the roads, again, we're going to just get an inventory of the concerns you all have, the ones that we can repair. And we'll definitely get back to you. Now, I know you all, I know that the town sends out its own emails, but for anyone here who's also interested in receiving the county's newsletter, I would love to get your information so we can also send you. We do send out regular emails and messages to our residents, giving you updates about things that are happening in the county, and I'd like to include you on our list also. So anybody, if you can please just give it to the folks who are here with the red shirts on, then we can get those. I'd love to be able to share that with you. I guess we have.
And we will take our last question.
Yeah. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. County Exec, citizens. My name is Martez Barnhart. I'm the president of the Citizens Association here in Fairmount Heights, for the ones that don't know me. I'm going to be very quick. I know time is of the essence. For the ones that don't know, that this mayor and council here is a new formulated mayor and council. This is a new council here, and we have a new chief here, for the ones that don't know. We all have complaints, we all have concerns. I'm a citizen as well, I'm a taxpayer as well. I pay $35,000 a year to be precise. So right now, the state that Fairmount Heights is in right now is we in the rebuilding stage, okay? For the ones that have seen Fairmount Heights on the news in the last 2-3 years, we've had issues, okay? Our police departments has issues. Our council has been recalled and replaced. We in the rebuilding stage. So I hear everybody's been very frustrated about the last 20-25 years. But just to keep everybody informed on what's going on, this is a new council. This is a new board right here that's going to be working for you moving forward. Taxpayers, we have needs, we have wants, and they're here to do that. Just for the ones that don't know. County Exec, only thing that I have to say right now is you mentioned economic development in the town. And like I just said, we're in the rebuilding stage. We have a lot of developers and economic development that's promised to come here in Fairmount Heights, because we're like probably the last spot in the county that has lots and land for building that's accessible right now. You said something earlier that I think that we really need to embrace and encourage, to have someone from your office to come in and help us. Mm-hmm. Like Ms. Hester said, please send somebody in here to help us, because the thing about it is this: we have people here that want better. We have people here that want a better way of life, but we don't have the resources, and you don't have the education, and you don't have the knowledge to do it, then it hinders you. And that's where we're at. We're at a point where, as though you have people that's here that's willing to put in the work to do what's need to be done, but you need experts, you need consultants, you need people that's of professional character that knows how to do certain things so we can move forward. Like Councilwoman White said, the speed bumps are coming. It's been a very long time. I'm telling you, I'm tired of it too. Mm-hmm. They run down my street doing 60 miles an hour, okay? It's coming. Chief Moore, he's our new chief here. I don't know if you was here or not, but when this man got inducted, I seen Sheriff Hyde here, okay? And I was like, that's Sheriff Hyde over there, okay? So I know that the resources that he's going to bring to our police department is going to be great needed, and it's going to be a great help to us. It just takes time. Rome wasn't built overnight. When you have something that's been going on for 20, 25, 30 years, it's not going to happen in 1 year. It's not going to happen in 2 years, but it will happen. But I just say that to say that we have issues that's going on here that's been lingering for a long time, and people want to see it change, and that's the reason why when they see, you know, county exec on that flyer, they say, I'm getting up there, I'm gonna let her get a piece of my mind. I want to see what we can change.
Oh, boy.
And I'm with you 100%. But we have to allow these people here to do their job, because she has a big responsibility. Her staff have a big responsibility. These kids are off the hook.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? They're not getting what they need from the communities or from the schools and on and on and on. We have people that do certain things, and we have to allow them to do that, and it takes time. But I will encourage, if you can please send somebody in here to help us, because we don't have the resources. We don't have the help that we need so we could be able to move this town forward. We got the 4.4 over here. We would love to see that be mixed use or, you know, storefront. I like to go buy me a Lido's down the street instead of going up there where the BJ's is, you know, at the shopping center. You know, I don't want to ride over there to go get a pizza. I want to go down the street. So, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and I want to just say thank you to all of you tonight. I hear you. You know what? I'm so happy. I know the councilwoman is going to speak also. I just want to thank you. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
So we talked about the crime throughout the county. One of the things that's been occurring here regularly in the town of Fairmount Heights is stolen vehicles. And then they're taking, what is it called, the Cadillac converters off of most of the cars they're stealing. Is the county doing anything to target the people who are buying these parts versus the people who are stealing them? Because we have a huge problem with that.
So the catalytic converters, I have to tell you, that's a different issue. The property crime issue is a big one, and chief among them is the cars. So the catalytic converter, I'd have to get the police. I'm not a police officer, but I just met with them yesterday, the chief, and this was the issue we talked about, was the catalytic converters. And I'm so glad, Councilwoman, that you raised this issue, because this reminds me to tell you all, would you believe that most of what we're seeing with stolen cars is 100% preventable? We're finding that a lot, and I want to remind you all to please also tell your neighbors to lock your doors, lock your cars. They're telling me that the vast majority of what we're seeing, we have cases, you know, there was one on television. The chief is a comical guy. He said it cost me 12 hours trying to find these two little dogs because the owner pulled up at the Starbucks, left the heat on so that the dogs would be warm, and went in and left the car running and went to get the coffee in the Starbucks. And of course, when he came back, his dogs and his car was gone. But we have a lot of our residents who just don't know that it really isn't safe to leave either your car running and leaving valuable items on your seats, encouraging people. Now, the catalytic converter is a whole different issue. And I don't know, I'll have to get you an answer to what you do to stop somebody from stealing the catalytic converter. But I did hear it's a little piece and they can sell it. And apparently it's very valuable. It is. And people are getting good cash for it. So I'll have to get you an answer back to you if we can, Director Davis. I'll get it. I can get you an answer back from the police. But it did remind me to tell you all these property crimes, and especially over the holidays. Please, everyone, we really can do a lot to stop the property theft by simply securing our cars, making sure that you lock the doors and that you do not leave valuable items on your seats to attract people to the car. So that message I would like to send out. But the car theft issue is a huge one. And the car theft leads to other crimes. Because what we're finding is that our children, primarily, are stealing the cars to joyride and to commit these other crimes. And by the way, you should know it's all over the county. The two areas that are hardest hit right now are Bowie and Clinton. We have geographic displacement, meaning when we put an operation in place, if we come to Fairmount Heights and come to some other places, guess what happens? Geographic displacement. It moves to another part of the county. So it is now every neighborhood in the county is seeing this, and so we're moving our strategies around. So again, thank you all so much for tonight, first of all, for coming out. I know you said, give me a piece of your mind. I appreciate that. I really do. I find that it is impossible to represent people you don't know or understand. I do understand you. I have lived here my whole life, and I hope that you sense from me the amount of care and passion I have for this job. I love the people who live here. I really do. This is our home. You know, we have many communities, but it is one county and one community. So what affects one? If one part of the county is unwell and doesn't have what it needs, that's the whole county. None of us are well, and none of us have what we need. So I am happy to come back. You have my commitment that I will bring my economic development team back to sit down and to go over what is possible, to look at what the opportunities are, how we can leverage whatever resources are available. It's not just your resources. Let's find what resources we can get from the state to leverage, what resources we can get from the federal government. So that's what we have to do, is to leverage all of our relationships to make sure that every part of the county prospers. So, but again, I thank you so much for your confidence. None of this stuff happens overnight. You know, that's to my dismay at times. But I can tell you that we work as urgently as we can. We don't have any time to waste. Yeah, I've heard from you all that you've spent 20 years frustrated over some of these issues, and I feel that frustration. I can understand it. And let's work together. I will work with the leadership here to make sure that all of us are doing the best. They need my support too, and I will give it to make sure that you have, to do my very best to bring to you the things you need. So thanks again. God bless all of you all. Really do appreciate the time.
Thank you, everyone, again. We did receive several concerns. Thank you, County Executive. We did receive several concerns regarding property concerns, and we have with us tonight Deputy Director Michael Brown for the Office of Central Services. So he just wants to come share some information for you regarding your concerns. You're welcome. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, will you all give the county executive another round of applause? Yes.
Good evening, everyone. The Office of Central Services is one of the county agencies that's responsible for the maintenance and the upkeep of some of the properties that are within Fairmount Heights. There are multiple agencies that have ownership of some of these vacant lots. Office of Central Services real estate team, this is Mr. Ikena Udejifor, is putting up two examples of the actual locations of some of the sites. I'm going to allow him to come up and identify by color the different lots that are owned by the Department of Public Works, Office of Central Services, or the Department of the Environment. And what that will help you to do is identify when you see a concern, whether it's grass or trash on the lot, which particular entity to contact. Because to contact DPW&T for a lot that is owned by OCS, it may eventually get to us, but you're not calling directly. And what we want to do is be able to educate, as we have earlier this evening, the information and also the points of contact in order to get action. Mr. Udejifor?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I know this map is a little bit micro, but I will provide a QR code and I will send it to the mayor and it'll be on the Town of Fairmount Heights website. There are approximately 60, let me get this cheat sheet here. Approximately 63 properties that are slivers. Essentially, slivers are considered anywhere from 1,000 square feet to maybe, and there's a case where one of these is 4.7 acres, and it's owned by Park and Planning. So we have a couple of parcels here that are owned by, between the county, Park and Planning, Housing Authority, Prince George's County Department of Public Works and Transportation, the right-of-way. We have the Housing Authority, and then we have, again, Prince George's County right-of-way section. So basically across here, the ones that I've put the thumbtacks are the ones that the Office of Central Services, we are aware of, that we will address if a call comes in through the new 311 system. And right now, these 8 parcels, we've not received any call this year to date. Not to say that we're not ready and prepared to address any calls that come in, but most of these parcels, as you can see, are outside of OCS. And we will work with Park and Planning. We will work with Housing Authority. What I did is, once we found out this meeting was happening, I think several weeks back, went through, had a site visit of all 63 parcels, took pictures, the conditions, what needs to be done. Yellow here meaning it's in that state where it could go either bad or good, let's get and remediate. Red needs to be addressed with immediately. Green, we will, continue to monitor the situation. And I went ahead and sent all of these to all the respective agencies on this so that they can get in front of this and make sure that we're not being reactive and be proactive in addressing this, because sometimes what you don't know, you just can't address. I have 4,700 parcels that fall under my purview. I just can't monitor 47, so I need your help to help me do my job better, essentially. So I'll take any questions.
Is 708 62nd Avenue reflected anywhere on there?
It's not listed by address, it's actually listed by tax ID. So that's,
I'm not privy to that.
if you tell me the street.
62nd Avenue, 708, man.
Yeah,
okay.
Okay.
It's no longer there.
Right.
But it's fenced in.
Okay.
So what's going to happen then?
That's a private property.
Yeah.
Right. There's.
So what can be done about that? I mean,
The county can actually fine her.
Yeah.
it's no longer there.
The county can fine the owner of the property if she's no longer there, the responsible party or whoever will ultimately inherit the property.
So you're telling me what they can do. I want to know what will make this happen. What we need to do, or what can be done to bring this about.
Calling 311.
Right now, you're going to have some questions asked in regards to the addresses, as you know. And we can translate that back into parcels.
Right, because
that's how we recognize it. And that will give us the information that we need in order to be able to locate the owner, as well as anybody that is, I think I heard an example earlier, not quite squatting, but perhaps occupying the space, and we're able to get in contact with them. So the most important thing for tonight is if you could please, the address as you know, identify that at this time, and we'll be able to translate it back to the council and to the mayor.
Oh, yes, QR code of both of these maps will be on your website tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much. And so I'm going to thank you again for allowing us to be here this evening with you, Mayor, Council, and residents. I'm going to turn it back over to the Mayor.
Okay.
One of the important things to note is
You gonna
that
leave these with?
I heard a lot of, I called, maybe, I know that you were two separate entities, but you called the county government and you may not get a response, you may not get a person. And so I really encourage you to please call PGC 311. The importance of that is, and I always give this example, Mary may retire tomorrow. And so you're calling Mary, and Mary doesn't tell Sue that she has a relationship with you, and you're still calling Mary. Mary didn't tell you she was retiring or going on vacation, but this issue is urgent for you. So I'm asking you to download our app, or if you don't want to download it, it's okay. We still have our call center, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I still have operators that answer the calls to 311. And so by calling 311, that is a full database. So all of the data is stored there, all the calls, which allows us as government to look at resources, budget needs, right? So if you have 35,000 people calling about one particular issue, we're able to then allot those resources to that issue, right? The data allows us to make good decisions. So if you don't want to download the app, okay, please call us. So everything that we're doing tonight, we're going to put in the system. Because again, we're able to run reports. We're able to keep people accountable. right? And that is one of the things that this system does. It's accountability and transparency. That is what many of you asked for prior to County Executive Officer Brooks coming in, that our system wasn't that. And so by putting the data in, we're able to hold our agencies accountable for delivering the services on time as they said they will be on time per our service level agreements. So I'm asking for your help with that, but everything tonight we will put into the system. And what we cannot or what we do not service, we will let you know too. You no longer do your requests fall in dead space, black holes as I call them. We will answer you. Sometimes you may not get the answer you want, but you will know that OCR will respond to you, okay? And so just to end, I like to give some things away. It was a little warm, a little chilly today, right? Just a little bit. And so Mayor and council members now, I don't have enough, but man, I have one for you.
Okay.
Right? I have one for you. So we have our new OCR blankets.
Okay.
They're pretty warm.
Right.
And so on behalf of the county executive and the Office of Community Relations,
right.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for having us come. Like it's my meeting, right?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Okay,
man. You're welcome. So,
all right.
now, don't even, I know.
Listen. Yeah.
I'm
cold right now.
We've chosen a name off of the sign-in sheet that we would like to give away to, and that is, and I'm hoping that she's still here.
Miss Vernita Bennett.
Oh, okay. All right.
Enjoy. And again, thank you for allowing us to come out tonight. We will be with you. We go all the way through follow through. And so this is not just a pomp and circumstance for us to come out here, but you will see us again. We do community walks and visits, Mayor.
Yes.
So if you want us to come out, walk your community, to see firsthand what you're experiencing, what your concerns are, we will gladly do that. And it doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's cold, if it's out, right? The concern is yours, and it's dire to you, and which we understand, and we want to make sure that we resolve that as quickly as possible. Thank you again to my team. We'll be around to collect the information that we asked for, and that's about it, but I hope to see you guys again
All
soon.
right. Well, thank you. It has been a pleasure. It's been a wonderful pleasure to have you all this evening, and I would like to say we would like to participate in the community walk, so we'll schedule that, because the last time when it was scheduled, we didn't get a chance to hold it, so we'll get that set up.
Perfect.
But appreciate you all coming. Thanks for the setup and your time. Thanks for the gifts. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. All right. No, we have another part to finish. Yes. Okay. All right. All right. I think mine is still on. Okay, we're going to move on down the agenda. We have a few more items to finalize. And at this time, I would like to ask the brothers from the Masonic Temple, Temple number 92, if I'm not mistaken. You all can come on in now. You all give them some applause. Yeah. And you can feel free to come to the mic. Yes. I know you might want to make a presentation, use the mic. You can so everyone can hear, because there's some people online that would like to hear also.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Could I please have all of the members of the Masonic fraternity please stand? Take off, that's all. Would you mind standing up for me, please? Thank you. I want to say thank you to the mayor, to our council for the invitation. To all assembled.
Did you get?
Can you hear me now? All right, I'll just speak a little louder. Once again, here we go.
Sound like you heard it though, yeah.
And to all assembled, good evening. My name is Sean Wright. I am the current worshipful master at Fairmount Lodge number 92 at 5501 Addison Road. I bring greetings from the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Maryland, its jurisdiction. And also would like to introduce you to our worthy matron, Columbine chapter number 46, Ms. Shantae Wood. We are here. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
We are here to reaffirm our commitment to the community. Again, we want to extend a hand of friendship and ask that you keep us in mind as we continue to serve the community in the town of Fairmount Heights. If you see us outside the building, please come through and say hello. We are a community together. I don't want to keep you long, but I do thank you for your time. Hope everyone has a safe evening, and good night.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right. We appreciate you all for coming and appreciate your patience. So whenever you all want to, I think you're supposed to join in with 2 of the council members for the, formerly trunk or treat now. Yeah, so if everyone has all the numbers and everything, we can make that happen. That'll be great. Because, yes, because we used to have so much of a good time when you all joined us before, and that was my reason for actually stopping past. I came through a few Saturdays ago because I said I didn't want to see us just continue to have separate events, and when you all didn't join in with us or we didn't join in with you all, because I remember a few years ago when we had the Halloween, we had it on this end, but up on that end, you all were doing the same thing. So it was a concern because we meant to coordinate it so it could work together. And it always did. It was always good working with you all, and I wanted to make sure that I wanted to reach out. So I'm happy to see your response. We appreciate you, like we always have, because who knows, we might be able to do the same thing for Thanksgiving or Christmas. We used to always do that. Yeah, so it's a great concept. Thank you all for coming. Yes, ma'am.
But it needs to be known over the years. We've been working with them hand in hand, even with the trunk or treats. This won't be a first, it will be a continuation. I had spoken with them early on, so it was already,
Okay. Well, I just reached out from my perspective because I hadn't.
No, I just wanted you to know they've been here.
Seen them.
They did it before.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. The main thing, we just want to see their presence. I want them to come to the meeting or to come. Every now and then they used to come to the meetings. They used to do a lot of things to support the town. So that was my purpose. Okay. Thank you all very much. All right. And we will be in touch. All right. All right. You all have a good night. All right. All right, we're going to move on down. Our next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for June the 30th, 2022, and August 17th, 2022. Have you all reviewed your minutes? Okay. If you have reviewed those minutes, at this time I will accept the motion for approval of the minutes for June 30th, 2022, and August 17th, 2022.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the minutes for June 30th, 2022, and August 17th, 2022. Are there any questions on the motion? If there are no questions, Madam Clerk to the Council, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Mayor Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Waiters,
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart.
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember Wood Dotson, Councilmember Barnhart,
Okay. Council. Oh. Are you yes on council member? Okay. All right.
but Councilmember Barnhart, what did
She said yes. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. The yeses have it. There was one abstention, no noes. So those minutes are approved. Okay, we're going to move on down the agenda. The next item that was listed was a report from the treasurer. The treasurer is at another event, a church event, so she's not present. I'm going to move on down to Mr. Pinckney. Is Mr. Pinckney still out there by the door? Mr. Pinckney. Okay, Mr. Pinckney, would you please come to the podium? I didn't see you back there because somebody was hiding you from where you. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Boone. Okay,
Good evening to
all right.
the mayor, the council, and the residents of the town of Fairmount Heights. This is my revised report for October the 19th, 2022. For this period, there were 23 citations issued totaling $13,500. The District Court of Maryland for Prince George's County awarded the town $1,000.
You all, excuse me,
Can you hear?
excuse me. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The town of Fairmount Heights has collected $1,000. The remaining $12,500 is pending payment or awaiting further action, i.e. court date or payment. Please see the attached for details, breakdown of each citation, permit, or license issued. Building permits. For the month of October, there were 2 building permits issued totaling $755.16. For the month of October, there were no business licenses issued. For the month of October, we issued 1 rental license totaling $450. Notice of correction action. For the month of October, we issued 20 corrective action notices for various violations. 15 of these violations have been corrected. They mentioned it, we mentioned it early when the county exec was here about the Tremendo's towing yard. And I spoke with the Maryland Department of the Environment and requested an update on Tremendo's located at 5612 J Street. I had to complete an incident spill report number 19844, an oil control program. We had another incident where a tree has fallen, this time on a neighbor's home and truck. I sent both of them a copy of the article, If a Tree Falls in Maryland, Who is Responsible?, letting them know that the town of Fairmount Heights does not have a fallen tree policy. I sent an email about asking for the advice of the town's attorney. He responded by saying that the town does not provide legal advice concerning fallen trees. Update, the unregistered vehicle parked at 5511th Street has been removed. And just for your information, we have 9 homes for sale in the town of Fairmount Heights. There are 4 homes under new construction. We have 1 home for lease, and we have another lot for sale. On Monday, October the 17th, Chief Moore and I patrolled the town looking for outstanding violations, i.e. Charity Hall, where Mrs. Wong had started depositing items, Hamilton's, Bell's, Bondman's on Sheriff Road, and Delighted 5710 Cove Street. Illegal vehicles parked at 5700 block of J Street and 618 61st Avenue. And also, I would just like to remind the council about, about my personal phone. Town doesn't give me a phone. The town doesn't pay for my phone, nor my data. So I would appreciate it if the council, if they were going to give my cell phone number out, if they would ask me permission prior. That's my report. Put any questions?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
If you would mind, or elaborating about our increase in revenue from the vacant properties in terms of, or have you been finding the vacant properties? And would you say you've been finding them more recently in the past months now that we know exactly when you can find them? Because I know there is or what I'm asking is, I would like to say is, can you explain for the people who are here who aren't usually here for meetings, can you explain how frequently you can find these properties, what you usually find them for, or their usual...
For vacant properties,
yeah.
we find them every 60 days if the violation continues.
And then, can you talk about, do you find that you've been finding these properties more often in the past months, or?
Not really. I can't really say.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pinckney. Mr. Rumi, I didn't mean to overlook you, but you can come on and sort of summarize, but I have your report here in my folder. I haven't had the chance to finalize it. And Chief, on your report, you ready? Or you just want to greet the people and say?
I want to greet them, but I have a couple of things.
Got it. Okay, so I'll call you after Mr. Rumi. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to certainly make my report short because the package I gave to you was not very short, but so I'm going to give a summary, important summary. Job announcements, always like to update the council. I have no new job announcements at this time. Public Works, we're moving into the fall department. The assignments are collect and dispose of leaves from streets, sidewalks, town-owned property, continue to cut grass through early November, remove grass and weeds growing through the sidewalks and throughout the town, remove trash and debris from storm drains, paint all curves, paint and stencil track covers. A lot of those are green things that the county exec mentioned today, and these are some of the things that we will be doing. I think there was a flyer or folder going around, bulk trash schedule, which comes into Public Works. It's scheduled for October 24th, 2022, starting at 7 a.m., and it will continue until we finish collecting. And again, on November 2nd, 2022 at 7 a.m. again. So a flyer is going around, so the details as to how to set out items, I think it's no more than 5 items, how to set your items out. Please follow the instructions that are on the flyer.
So has the flyer gone out, or is it in the works? Because this is next week, and this is the first we're hearing of it. So the first we're hearing of it.
Yeah.
No, I said, I think
she just got the notice. She just
yeah,
got the notice.
right, yeah, I just got it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I for some reason, I thought it was left on everybody's chair. That's why I said that, but it's not.
No.
But okay, however, back to the bulk trash removal, okay. We are at the liberty of the county to set the date. So we just got the final date. I think Councilman Dodson just got the date today.
It was today.
Yeah, we just got it today. Yeah, and so I put it in my report, and for some reason I thought there were copies put on everybody's chair. So sorry for that omission. Also, Pepco charging station, and I put some information in your packet, actually for information. Pepco is offering a sale of street lights for 2 municipalities. In the event that council gets this information or it comes from the county exec or from the 311 notice, you will know what this is about. According to local government article 11309, Pepco has the authority to sell to the town's existing outdoor street lights. And I know there's been some discussion about cameras and information and cameras put on Pepco street lights. Pepco has the right of way to those street lights. This is not anything the town regulates. However, Fairmount Heights, being a small town with a population of approximately 1580, do not have the capacity to operate or maintain street lights. So I don't think, Mayor, in any discussions that I've had, that you're going to move forward in wanting to own those street lights. But the information, just for your information, is in the packet. The last time I met, I talked about, and the county exec talked about this a bit too, in terms of Sustainable Maryland. Pepco is awarding up to $10,000 for environmental stewardship. The town did submit a grant application. The name of the project is the K Street Market Circle Alley Enhancement Project. It's located between Addison Road and Market Circle. The alley is approximately 186 feet long. I think in my August report I had it in the map in there, but not in this one. The alley is unpaved and have become the dumping site for tires, old mattresses, cans, bottles, etc. The pathway is overgrown with invasive trees and weeds. It encourages illicit activity. So, and some of the things that we're going to do of the description of the K Street Market Circle Enhancement Project are remove all debris and trash, remove all invasive and overgrown plants, install a new path with pervious surface, design and create landscape plan to connect K Street, We're going to plant trees, and we're going to install art detail and other placards identifying the names of the trees and the history of the alleyway. So we're going to try to have manufactured the historic marker sign to match that of the historic trail throughout the town. Our project partners on the K Street project is the Anacostia Watershed Society and the Fairmount Heights Community Development Corporation. Thank you for your partnership and your letter of support. According to Mrs. Walker, highway user funds can be used as a match for this project. Okay, the net zero housing. Stephanie was not here. One of the things I was hoping that the county exec would actually update you and tell you all the great things that are happening in Fairmount Heights in terms of money and resources coming in. I've reported each month that the town, or through Housing Initiative Partnership, has been awarded $650,000 funding through the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. All citizens are encouraged to apply. Each homeowner can apply for grants up to $60,000. You can do a lot of work. You can get new air conditioning put in. You can do a lot of work. Also, the construction of the seven new housing net zero housing is in the permitting stage. Home investment partnership programs, and you've heard the term maybe. HOME, H-O-M-E, is to go before the Prince George's Council, and this is what I was hoping that the county exec would say to you guys tonight, that they're going to the council to make nearly available $1.35 million in funding that can be used in partnership with local nonprofits to fund a wide range of activities, including building and buying and rehab housing. And this money, this $1.35 million, will go toward the net zero housing. In addition to that, there will be 15% of home funds will be set aside for home chodo. I think you guys are chodo? Perfect. There are certainly funds available for the chodo through the home fund. And so 15% of the $1.35 million can be used for chodo. So that's a great thing. I'll gladly work with you, Ms. Capers, as I've done in the past, to help make certain that you apply for these funding. Okay. Now, something else very important. Bond financing through the Office of Maryland State Senator Joanne Benson. Senator Benson contacted me on yesterday. She contacted me really through mayor to notify the town of her intent to submit a bond bill on behalf of the town. Now, we're going to have some side discussion with the council as to how we can use the bond financing. The bond bill form is due November 1st, 2022, and should be sent to the Office of Policy Analysis. Okay, and so the type of projects, this cannot be used, the bond financing cannot be used for soft money. You can't use it for staffing. You can't use it for your operations. It can be used for any type of issue that is such as real property, project planning and design, construction and renovation. It must be capital in nature, and it must have a life of 15 years. So that means you can't buy a car, because a car normally don't have a life of 15 years. Update and reminder, the Veterans Memorial World War II African American Heritage Program. That grant was written, I think, in 2019. Hopefully we'll spend that money soon. Also, additional federal grants. The U.S. Department of Agriculture announced availability to the USDA People's Garden Initiative, and their motto is this: the simple act of planting a garden can give impact from building a more diverse and resilient local food system. You talked about today that we are a food desert. What about building our own type and approach to being resilient and creating our own food market? Can it be done? Yes. Economic Community Development Committee, Sustainable Community Program applications for designation renewal. I submitted that. The county exec did talk about She talked about the Blue Line Corridor, which we are a part of. Our application was renewed July 1, 2022. Okay, so the Community Act 2012 established a framework for reinvesting and revitalizing of Maryland existing communities, creating single, locally designed focus areas. The Sustainable Maryland is partnered with PEPCO, and of course I talked about the issue of the $10,000 Environmental Stewardship Award. And also you need to understand that PEPCO put $250,000 in the development of 7 net zero housing. So when I was adding up the amount of resources and dollars coming to development, I heard a lot of people say that we're not doing anything in development. For this net zero housing project, if you go on PEPCO's website and you go on some other website, you're going to see Fairmount Heights on the front page because of our design for something called the microgrid, which is going to be the first in the country. We're going to have a microgrid, which means the 6 houses that we are building, if the utilities go out, guess what? They still have electric. We may not. But what we're hoping to do with PEPCO and a company out of Florida is to look at how we can create other microgrids in the town of Fairmount Heights. And that's something we will need the county exec's input. The Economic Community Development Committee meets the third Thursday. Councilmember Waiters, I did send you the agenda. The committee, we meet, of course, the third Thursday, which is October 20th. All meetings are virtual. I certainly encourage everyone to, after tonight's meeting, everyone's invited to listen to some of the things that we are doing. You need to understand, we started, Councilmember, when did we start this whole idea of wanting to develop housing? 2014. And here we are, what, 8 years later? We're still going through the process. And so 8 years now, in November, we will start groundbreaking. Ma'am, I guess we need to get with you, the council, in terms of having a groundbreaking ceremony and other ceremonies for this.
Yeah.
Now, some of the recommendations that the committee, Economic Community Development Committee made to the Mayor and Council are as follows. We are asking that the Mayor and Council establish a Historic Preservation Review Board. The purpose of the board is to review the designs and plans of all renovation projects and new construction. And the committee would probably meet, should be made up of at least 3 members and no more than 5. Why is that important? You certainly do not want developers or buildings to come in to look out of character with your historic town. So you need a committee to review. When Mr. Pinckney submits an application for review, you need a committee who will sit down and say, okay, we do not like the pergola on this building. We don't like the size of the posts. We don't like the brick exterior. You need a committee to sit down. Upper Marlboro has one, so I've been studying their Historic Preservation Committee and how they work and how they maintain the character of Upper Marlboro. Also, we asked the Mayor and Council to contact the service of a consultant. I heard that over and over tonight, that we need to have experts, people who can come in and give us advice on how to do some of the development that we need to do, or have time to do it. I don't know, I think you have a sample over there. To put together a packet for RFP. Look at how, show it up. You can just hold it up.
Yeah.
Look at how thick it is. It's not 2 pages. Okay, so you need somebody who know how to do resources, use funding, return on investment, et cetera, et cetera, right? And that basically concludes my report. Again, I invite you to, Councilmember Waiters, you'll be sending out, or we can look on, it's on the website, the link for the tomorrow night's meeting. Please join us. That concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rumi. All right. Anybody have any questions or any comments for Mr. Rumi? Okay. All right. Chief, would you come forward? And would you all give him a big round of applause as he comes forward?
You okay?
Yeah, it's water all over the floor.
Okay. All right.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, citizens of Fairmount Heights. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Stanford Moore. I'm the new Chief of Police. I officially started October the 11th, so I have a few days in on the job. And I'm taking my time to learn the city and learn all of the citizens as soon as possible. So it's been really interesting riding the town, learning the town, and I'm out daily. If you see now, you may see the marked police car back in the community riding around. You see it parked out front. So I do try to get around, and I'm in 2 different vehicles right now, just surveying street to street, block to block, empty, vacant unit. Me and Mr. Pinckney, we walked the community the other day, talking to some citizens, looking at some abandoned vehicles. I believe on the 17th, I wrote 3 tickets myself, and the 18th as well. So some of the concerns that I've seen in the community so far, and this is some of the stuff that the council has expressed to me in reference to abandoned vehicles left in the community, unregistered vehicles left in the community. And as I go around and I take pictures, I write down tag numbers, and I take notes in reference to some of this information that I see, and some just passed on from Mr. Pinckney. On my first day here, Councilwoman Stewart showed me different places in the town for me to keep an eye out on, and then I had the pleasure of going out with Mr. Pinckney as well. We did a lot of the abandoned properties and some of the things I needed to look out for. So we went door to door. We knocked on a few doors because Mr. Pinckney is out and he's doing his best to do his job, and he just needed a little bit more support. I'm here now, so he's not getting a response from some of the citizens who own the properties in the town. So we're gonna make this a door knocking campaign. So he's posting properties, he's stickering vehicles, and I'm knocking on doors. So if we're not getting the response that we need from messages being left, then at the last result, I'm going to knock on the door and I'm going to speak with the homeowner and let them know why I'm going to introduce myself first and let them know what our concerns are in the town. One concern that some of you all may have seen, and we've addressed it, and I've spoken with one of the family members. I have yet to speak with the homeowner in reference to a pod that's placed on the street in the community. Correct. So that pod is sitting just about blocking a fire hydrant as well. So if it's an incident on that street, that's the only fire hydrant on that street. It's a problem. So the homeowner stated that, well, we're moving anyway, and we'll have it moved by the middle of November. That's unacceptable. Anything can happen on that street where a fire and the fire department can't get in, everybody on that block will lose their house. Fire spread, they can't get it out. So I told him that I expect to hear something back from the homeowner within 5 days, or we're gonna start finding it. And then eventually we'll see if we can have it removed itself and then charge the family with that. So we're gonna do a little more research on that part of it, but if you have a pod, the driveway is the best place for it. Not in front of a fire hydrant. So, and that's what I just tried to explain to the resident who was there, and I haven't heard from the homeowner yet, and that was a couple of days ago. So, safety issues that I see that's going on in the county that also affects the town. At this time of the year, we're getting close to the holidays, and I think the county exec touched on some of this. Robberies go up, carjackings go up, personal property break-ins and stuff, they go up. I've been in law enforcement for 23 and a half years now, and I've been dealing with it for a long time, and I advise my family about certain things to do. Small safety tips. When you pull up at home, when you're getting ready to pull into your driveway, get off your phone, have all your stuff together, look at your doorway, get in the house. You have to be mindful of your surroundings because they're watching you and you have no idea. And I'm not just saying in this community of Fairmount Heights, I'm talking about everywhere. Right. So some people who get on TV sometimes and say like, well, I never thought it could happen in my community. Why not? We're in America. Mm-hmm. So we have to take steps to guard ourselves. Leaving stuff on the seats, leaving your doors locked. A routine that I've started on the Fairmount Heights police page that I've created on Facebook. I give out safety tips every day. I also put out Crime Solver numbers for anonymous tips. If you have them, you can call into Crime Solvers. Every day it's some type of safety tip for the community to go in there and look at. Oh, I never thought about that. I just started putting out Halloween tips for you and your grandkids and stuff to take when you're out trick-or-treating. If you decide to go trick-or-treating, different things you need to look for, different areas, how you should walk on the sidewalk. You should have flashlights. You should have an adult with you, no kids out by themselves. If you have a group of kids, if you have one adult, that's fine. If you have two, that's even better. It's as detailed as if you have a group of kids, you have one adult in the front and one adult in the back and the kids in the middle. That way everybody has eyes on everything in front of you and everything behind you. So these are the safety tips that I'm giving to the community in reference to every little thing you can do just to be the safest you can be. I'm also advising citizens, if you do not have a camera system for your home, I'm not saying you got to go out and get a fancy $1,500 camera system. If you get one doorbell camera or anything that can cover your property, it makes life a lot easier, not just for you, but the police as well. We're able to follow up on different leads we may get if you have that doorbell camera. If you have a doorbell camera, it pans all the way out where you can see halfway up the block this way and halfway up the block this way. They're inexpensive. I'm not here advocating for one particular brand. It doesn't matter. If you get one, it'll help you in the long run. When we go back to look at footage to see, that's Mr. Smith's son. He walks up and down the street every day. The next thing you know, that's the same guy who smashed this window out here. So I'm finding when I'm talking to people, we had a vandalism on 60th place, and the window got broken out. So she just had the conversation about getting cameras 2 weeks before that, but she said it slipped her mind. So county police came out and wrote the report. She said that was the second vandalism that she's had in a year and a half, but it happened in the same particular parking space when they parked it, and house. It was a cousin of hers who was visiting, and this time it was her house. So I had a conversation. I got her information. She didn't give me her last name, but she gave me her first name, and I just told her, here's my number. If you have any issues, call me back. I'll give you safety tips as you know, if you would like them. And as we start to put the department in place, we'll have officers out doing routine patrols. Right now, I'm doing the patrols in the area along with doing administrative duties in the office. Hopefully, soon, we can start to build the manpower here in the department where we have somebody out patrolling day and night. So that's my goal. I don't know how soon we'll be able to get people interviewed, investigations done, and then hired, and then on the job. But I am out here in your community now. I'll be out here in your communities, even on some of the weekends when I'm officially not working. I'm working. I'm here in the neighborhood. You may not see me, but I'll be here. Because what I like to do is just ride through, and I just like to see it at a different time and a different angle. And if I'm out and I'm walking in the building, on the weekends I don't have my uniform on and I'm in my personal car, but I just want to see what's going on. I had a conversation with the president of the Boys and Girls Club, who was practicing at the football field on Addison Road and Sheriff. He was actually a young man that I coached in football many, many years ago. And I told him it was great that he was out there running that Boys and Girls Club. And all these kids out here, I love to see them involved in activity. I said, but look, you guys got to do a better job of taking care of this property up here. It was a complete mess. It was trash. It was yellow tape. It was everything going on there. Now, I know the property does not belong to the town of Fairmount Heights. It belongs to Maryland Park and Planning, but they're responsible for it. And I told him I'm holding him accountable because I know who he is and he knows who I am. So I challenged him and his parents to make sure that they pick up after their kids or whoever's leaving the mess. I don't know. But it's after the practices every day that place is just, I said, it has to do better. It's reflecting the town. And I said, I'm here now. So you know me and I know you. So I'm coming to you if I have a problem. I'm going right to the top. You're the president. You got to send it down to your people. They have to do a better job of cleaning up behind themselves.
Yeah.
So I also had the pleasure of attending Fairmount Heights High School homecoming. So that was a treat. It was very cold out, but it was a treat. I went out from 1:30 to, I think I stayed till 5 o'clock or something like that at the homecoming. So just introducing myself to the alumni and a lot of people who still live in the town, some of the coaches, the principals, and the staff like that. So it was a great event. And my plan as well is to also go out and meet the leaders of the churches that are in the community. And I believe 2 of them are not open, if I'm not mistaken.
It might be, yeah, we have to look on the list so you'll know everybody.
Right.
But it's quite a few, especially like Righteous Church right over here on Jefferson Heights Drive.
Right.
They've been closed for a good while.
Okay.
I'm not sure about 6, we can go down the list.
Okay, yeah. My job, my plan is to, I've been stopping by, I'm trying to see who's still having worship service and that.
Yeah.
Because I do want to meet that leader in this community as well, so we can have some different conversations, so I can see some things from their perspective as well. So I've also met with a couple of the owners of the Hip Hop Chicken. I stopped in the other day, introduced myself, and the electronics store on Addison Road. So I haven't made it over to the library yet, and I haven't made it up to the liquor store yet to meet with them. I've been monitoring the liquor store action because I had to ask 2 people not to park in the place that said don't park right there on the side of the liquor store. So that's my goal for this week, to meet those property owners as well. Myself and Mr. Pinckney, we stopped past the quote-unquote bail bondsman facility that's now a junkyard. What's Hamilton?
Yeah.
So we had a great conversation with the sublease person who's running it now. I'm not sure of his name. Okay. And so we just explained to him that this is our last time coming out in reference to getting the owner of the property to either sell him the property or have it relicensed as a junkyard instead of a bail bond. They're not running a bail bondsman system out of it. It's a junkyard. He told myself and Mr. Pinckney personally that he's charging people per vehicle to store their vehicle, just like it's a storage facility. So he told us that personally, and I said that's not acceptable.
Yeah, that is just.
So and just explaining to him that the owner of the property needs to contact somebody from the town hall, and they need to go through it. I'm not sure what his health situation is or not, but we're going to start doing what we have to do administratively to start finding the place, and eventually it's going to be action taken from that point on. And I told him it's no fault of you're the subleaser, but we're telling you you're doing wrong, so you need to hold the owner accountable at this point. But this is the last time. Mr. Pinckney told me he's been there multiple times, and I told the one guy, this is my first and this is my last time coming. So at that point, whoever the owner is, if he doesn't make contact with Mr. Pinckney or somebody here at town hall, then we just move forward. So the abandoned vehicles in the town, I wrote tickets on. The one guy, I believe, is at 618 60th, 61st. It's a gold Honda Civic. Doesn't have any tags, doesn't even have any tires on it. He explained it to me. We gave it a couple of days, and then I went by and I put 2 tickets on it. So on that car and the Dodge Charger in front of him, one of them doesn't have any tags. The other one, the tags have been expired for over a year. So Mr. Pinckney informed me that they took the tickets off the car. The one time that it was tagged, the guy came out and scraped the tag back off of it at that point. So at this point, it's going to be impounded. Both of them will be impounded, and then they'll have to deal with it at that point. Once he's given them an opportunity to move it, I'm not in the back and forth about what's going on with that part of it. They've been properly notified, so at this point, I told them after the 5 days, they'll be impounded. So 57 place, the black Cadillac and the GMC truck, they've also been ticketed. They took the tickets off of them, but they have not moved the vehicles. They have 5 days before they're impounded as well. So the days of this town being the host of a bunch of junk cars, that's done. So just know, those complaints come in, I'm responsible for them. So I take full responsibility for them. Once I give you an opportunity to come and state your case, get it re-registered. Even if he came down here and said, Chief Moore, I need 5 days, I need 7 days to get this car registered. Can you work with me? Absolutely, I can. You got to come have a conversation with me or somebody in the town saying we're going to get this matter taken care of. And these cars have been sitting here a lot longer than it should be, months and months at a time. I'm not sure if they're running. We got enough junkyards over here, so we don't need them on the streets.
Oh, yes.
So I'm gonna wrap up because one thing I want to reach out to you, Mayor and Council, is that one of the ideas I wanted to do as myself, the chief in this community, I wanted to host a coat and a hat drive here at the municipal building, either in November or December. I have some resources, and this is for kids.
Right.
What I'm finding is that's a lot of kids that don't have a coat.
Yeah.
They don't have a hat. I see these kids coming out at the bus stops with little fleece jackets on, no gloves.
They do.
And I know it's cold.
Yeah.
So I've reached out to some of my resources, and I'm hoping to get a shipment of kids coats for a minute. And I want to try to limit this to the kids who live in the town. Now, if people are coming, I don't believe in turning kids away. Somebody needs a coat. We want to focus on the town kids first. Get them coats, hats, and I'm also lobbying for some gloves. So that's a project of mine. When I get a notification on when I'm gonna get the stuff in, we can kind of get with you and set the dates or whatever the case may be.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Love it, love it.
And to meet the official October 26th, my town hall meeting with me personally and sit down with questions, crime, background, any other questions you ask about me, I'm here. I don't have a problem with talking. So, yes, sir.
Okay.
Dogs. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miss.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say it's good hearing you speak about coats. I have a clothes closet. I got a list, and I have people that are already inquiring, so that would be a good and collaborative endeavor we could do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Let's get it done. Yes. What's the other thing that we noticed that, and I think I had a conversation with the mayor as well. For the residents who are here and may not know, in Prince George's County, it's a leash law if you have a dog, which means when you're out in public, your dog is to be on a leash at all times. If he's in your yard, your own private yard, he can roam freely, but you should have a fence that can accommodate that animal where he cannot get out of the gate and be a danger to somebody else. So some of the complaints that we've taken, we took a complaint, I believe on Tuesday, in reference to a dog being attacked and killed by another dog in the community. We did follow up with both parties involved, and we also followed up with animal control. I spoke with Mr. Cook from Animal Control in reference to the investigation part. Once we found out that they did come out and take action and they did remove that animal for a period of 5 days, but because of the lack of evidence, they had to return the dog. There was no clear video footage of which dog did the attack, and according to him, the description was given, it was 3 different descriptions given, so they couldn't definitively say that this was the dog who did it. So I say this we all need to be mindful of our own pets. We all have to be responsible for our pets. If your dog attacks somebody, you're going to be held liable for it. The other part of that is that I'm noticing that we have a few pit bulls in the community, and I believe the county exec also touched on that, and one of the citizens as well. It has been a lot of controversy. They had been banned in Prince George's County for a long time, and I know the council's in the middle of trying to figure out what they're trying to figure it out. But with that being said, no matter what kind of dog you have, the dog needs to be on a leash and not a threat to anybody else. It's your dog, it's your responsibility, and we have to make sure that if somebody's out just on a regular walk, they should feel safe, that they don't have to run from the dog, and somebody running behind the dog saying that he's not gonna bite you, he's not gonna bother you. I don't know nobody's dog. So that's your dog. I don't know that he's not gonna bite me. So I just think we need to be more mindful of that and spread the word to your neighbors or whoever. And if they have any questions, they can address me here at the station. I'm out and about. I have business cards if anybody needs business cards today. I thank you for your time. I look forward to serving this community. You will see me out and about, and I'm here. Thank you.
First of all, I want to say, Chief, that's a wonderful report. Wonderful. You covered the bases, and you talked about how you and Mr. Pinckney coordinated to go out and speak to people. You know, at least you're putting that to the point where they get the understanding, like, we see this, and you know, like, you're going to have to improve it, else we go to the next level.
Well, I think part of that is that, you know, some of the people were used to seeing that it wasn't police officers here actively in the community.
Yeah.
And so now when I'm out and about and they see me with Mr. Pinckney, supporting him and backing him up on everything that he's trying to do, I think they're going to kind of get the picture. And now I'm not saying that in a intimidating type of way, because that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that everybody here follows their responsibility, so that people can feel like, look, this is my property, I want the value to stay up. I don't want the property value going down because you're not holding up your end of the bargain. So as a homeowner myself, I do what I'm supposed to do, and I expect everybody else to do what they're supposed to do. So.
Okay, it's a good thing. Thank you very much. I saw a hand here, was that for the chief? Councilmember Von Hart?
I just have one question. What is your Fairmount Heights Police Department Facebook page so everyone is aware and can go on the website page and actually look at all the information that you've been providing for our safety?
It's Fairmount Heights Police Department on Facebook.
Okay.
Just you pull it up, it should pull right up, and you can just like it, and then you can see all the information and stuff that's on it. So I haven't had a chance to put the daily quote today because I usually do it around 9. We're still in here.
Okay.
Chief, can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Kimberly Lane. I live on 61st Avenue.
Yes.
And you said the general question, when someone calls either 911 or the non-emergency number, how is it determined whether you reply or whether the county replies? Because just over the past week, specifically like Thursday and Friday, I've seen like 2 different police responses in the town, but it was PG County police. Like they were like Thursday, like 5 o'clock p.m., like on 61st Avenue. And then on Friday on Blossom Tree, it looked like it was a fire, so it was the fire trucks, but it was also like 3 or 4 police officers there. So these are just random as I'm out, you know, running the errands, and, you know, so, yeah, I mean,
So what's happening right now, because I'm the only officer here on the department, a lot of the calls are being relayed to county police. So whenever it's not an officer that's in service here in the town, all the calls either go to the county police or the sheriff's office. In the sheriff's office, if it's a domestic violence situation, we've had a couple of calls here in the town in reference to protective orders being served, and that automatically goes to the sheriff, and any other calls will go to the county police. Me and Mr. Pinckney were out the other day and came up to the county police who was taking a report for a stolen vehicle as well. I introduced myself to that officer who works there beat, and he was happy to see us, and he was welcoming. I said, look, we'll have some people here in place sooner or later to start filling these calls. Not that they mind. They have an understanding of what they do. So they know that we're here. They know that we're building the department, but that's who will actually run the call until we get a full department in place.
All right. Appreciate you all so very much. We're going to thank you all for all of the reports for this. We're going to move down on the agenda. I have a few things that I wanted to mention, and I wanted to mention that this is a proclamation that was requested by Councilmember Wood Dodson. It's for Mrs. Teresa Graves, and as you all already know, she turns 102 this April. So I don't know, what the occasion was to do this, but I did one. I had Ms. Tucker to do it. It basically talks about some of the same things that were mentioned for her 100th year anniversary, her birthday. So anyway, this will be going to her. I did receive news that she has COVID right now, so I don't know, but that's the proclamation for Ms. Graves. So whenever it's convenient, you can take the proclamation, but I signed it and everything. Okay, so can you pass that down, please? Thank you. Okay, I want to talk about Veterans Day. Normally we do something commemorative. Sometimes we've had large events, sometimes small. But just to make sure that veterans are recognized, we did something for Memorial Day, which was just to lay the wreath and, at least commemorated those people who participated that were veterans. So on November 11th, I'm going to get a new wreath because I think that the wreaths that we've had there we've been using them a lot. So we're going to get a new wreath and we're going to lay it down as a monument on that day. I don't have anything else that's planned. I talked with Councilmember Oscar last week, and he left this morning going out for his job. He's on work assignment, so he's going to be gone. So he won't be able to plan anything. So I'm going to do that. I want the council to participate. So it's going to be like at 10 o'clock. Normally that's the time that everybody comes down and expect to see the wreath being laid. So it'll be November 11th at 10. So, and I think what we did was send that out with the information today, hopefully so. Because, that way we won't have to continue to send out flyer after flyer after flyer. Okay. Another thing that I have listed here was the November the 8th, the date for the general election. I think most people have actually seen that. Please go out and vote, because our vote is really needed.
Is this a voting site, Mayor Peter?
No. Most of our residents here vote at the Sea Pleasant Activity Center. Yeah. They moved us down there. Okay. Okay. October the 7th, I went to the training source. Miss Kim Rims, she had a large program over at her office over there on Yoss Place in Sea Pleasant. And it was to really celebrate the reopening and the 29th year of service that the training source has been doing. They've done a lot of good in the community. A lot of these young people can tell you what they did, what Kim Rim herself did to hold that company together and to get them trained and to get them in jobs. And she did a good job because they are good trained employees. You see that just in the people that work her office. So it's a good thing. She's been doing great work. So I went over to join them on that. On Monday past, I went to the Sea Pleasant breakfast. It's an information breakfast for Ward 5, but I was invited by Councilmember Sistrunk. And the reason why I went, this is the second one that I've been to, but it's for us to keep our relationships open with Sea Pleasant because they're our neighbors and we need to be able to talk to somebody within their government. So I went to that. It was very well received. And Chief, I had a chance to talk to Chief Harris there and tell him that you were here. And I told him to look out for you. And, he said, yeah, I already know him. So that's good. So, the more we pass it, we keep on passing the good news. So I thought that was it was very time well taken. I want to say thanks again to the Forest Heights Mayor and Council for donating the car that they gave us to the town. We're going to send them an official letter to say thank you. Because whenever people do anything for us, we have to be thankful for it. So I want to make sure that we do that. We'll send them a thank you card. And I did get a notice about the 280th anniversary for Bladensburg. It will be this coming Saturday at the Bladensburg waterfront. It's from 3 until 7. Now, I didn't realize that that Bladensburg, not the first African-American community, but it was the first municipality So they're celebrating 280 years. You know, we've known about Bladensburg forever, but I thought that was really noteworthy. I wanted to let everyone know. They said everyone is welcome. So if you need more details, go to their website, and you'll find out the rest of the details there. Okay? That's going to about do it for me tonight. I'm going to start right over here on this end with Councilmember Waiters, and I'm going to go on down.
Excuse me, for the sake of time, I will not be long because a lot of times my report is kind of sort of intermingled with Mr. Roomer's report, but I will reiterate. The Economic Development Committee meets on tomorrow. We meet at 7 o'clock. I've sent out the link already so that you can go on the website. There was a request for Historic Preservation Committee and as well as a request for the council to take a look at our fees for development of the 4.4 acres that's been asked. We've asked a couple of times, so that needs to be before the council for discussion. I will end by saying this, per the visit from our county exec and a lot of the conversation that has gone forth here today. Last month, my report stated that I would counsel the economic development because there was a dire need for the community to now be involved in economic development efforts for the 4.4 as well as the main street. And that has actually come out in this meeting tonight, dire need for us to partner with the county, which was really my heart's desire to figure out how we could connect with them and who's going to pay attention to the town of Fairmount Heights. I consider us to be a diamond in the rough. So you've heard, those of you on the line, you've heard about everything that's going on around us, but you've heard about nothing that's going on inside with the exception of the net zero housing. There's so much more that can be done, that should be done. So I advise you to come into the economic development meeting on tomorrow so that you can elaborate. It will get to a point where it has to become a community meeting where we bring the ideas from that meeting into public space for further input and development. And I think, hold on one second because I made a note. I make notes because I'm older than I used to be. I have one question this is for Mr. Gray. And this is concerning working with Councilmember White for the communication improvements. We've gotten better. Ms. Kim, can we get an amen? We've got with the hearing and so forth and so on, and we are monitoring the chats, but we're live and we're being recorded. So what we want to do is we need to find out from you where I think there's an email address or something where we upload those videos for it to become public for YouTube. So Councilman White and clerk to the council, Dr. Span and I would like to get with you so that we can start uploading things to YouTube for.
I'll make sure instead of sending to an email, I'll do a Dropbox. You can just a Dropbox upload link. You can just at will upload information.
Okay, because the economic development meetings are recorded as well, so we'd like to get all the information out to the public. Okay, that was it.
Okay.
Any questions for me? Sorry.
All right. Thanks.
One other comment. The Green Team meeting, we haven't had it for a while, will be next Thursday.
Okay.
And some of the things that the county exec talked about beautification and tree planting, et cetera, will be discussed at that meeting.
Okay.
So.
Lastly, this rendering the lots that they share with us.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, I wanted to just add this to the lots that that were being displayed here. Those lots, I believe, was he referring to the lots that are not buildable, that are owned by the county.
Yes.
Is what he was referring to for those that didn't understand what he was talking about. They're not big enough to put a house on. So in the past, we have entertained contacting them and having a discussion with them for if another project that we could entertain would be tiny houses.
Oh, okay.
Where there's not, I forget what the average space is for a large house, but whatever the tiny house is what we would like to have a discussion about. That would eliminate some of those vacant lots.
Okay. So, you all probably need to refer to this list for your meeting. You need it for tomorrow?
You have it.
You have this copy of it?
I've sent it to the council many times. Mine is listed there.
Okay.
And I usually have it every 90 days. That's done by John Lassiter.
Okay. Well, if you need this, just let me know, because if you need this copy, and then plus they left this information also. Now, these are the kind of information like our other large boards that we use for display and for meeting, that we need those. Yeah.
That was it too, I'm sorry.
Okay.
She said something that reminded me. This is the last thing I'll answer this. I think they're still over in the corner, I can't see them, I don't like it when I can't see them. They're in the back, okay.
Well, yeah.
So normally we have renderings of some, submission of prior renderings, am I saying it right, Mr. Remy? They usually on the board, on the display over there, and we like to have them displayed because those were presented to us some time ago. Here's the small book. So, Mr. Remy, I found it this evening. What I'd like to do is scan this in, because we can't always see those. So I want to scan them in so that we can make them public for them. This is what has already been sent. It's got renderings, it's got proposed. This is just 4. This is not the plan, but this is 4 that had been done when Mr. Remy by University of Maryland some time ago. So this is what we have in place for you to look at, but you may want to add to and eliminate this or present a whole nother new concept for the community. And this is the 4.4 acre concept.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you. Councilmember White.
Okay, thank you all for sticking around.
You want me to make? Okay.
Mike. Thank you all for hanging around. I know it's been a long night, but thank you so much for listening. And so a little bit of this overlaps with other reports as well. As for the police chief meet and greet, once again, it is on October 26th. I have reached out to First Baptist and Sylvan Vista, so hopefully there will be, some participants from the congregation there as well, because it's really important that we reach these churches for things like this, as they are, more likely to get the information out. And I would really like to talk about the litter blitz and also just the small improvements we're seeing within the town. Ms. Stewart and I were talking about this, how the town is slowly looking better in terms of property upkeep because of our new willingness and also our seriousness in creating a beautiful and safe environment for the citizens, as well as the DPW&T crews from Litter Blitz have, collected 108 tons of litter since they started, which I believe was last month, mowed 972 acres of grass and completed street sweepings on 378 curb miles. So you should see a lot more improvements, not only in the town, but within the surrounding areas. As far as the general elections, it is November 8th, and early voting will start on October 27th through Thursday, November 3rd. So please keep that in mind. Registration has already passed. It passed on October 18th, if you did not know. If you need help with voting by mail or anything like that, you can go to elections.mypgc.us to get information on that. There are a few more things that I think are really nice, especially because now that the library is closed for a few renovations, this would mostly be where this took place, as they have all of the media equipment. But the PG County Film Grant Program is taking applications now until October 28th, with up to $45,000 per production or project to support filmmakers. So please keep that in mind. And a few more things. following up on last month's report, the update on camera ordinance, we reached out to Pepco. No, we do not own the street lamps. That is correct. But we do feel that it is important for our citizens to have the right to privacy. And through that would be the restriction of personal residential cameras on public poles. So we are working with Pepco with that. We contacted and reached out to Pepco. So we are working on that between Councilwoman Stewart, Councilwoman Barnhart, and I, as well as the construction of a fallen tree ordinance, which is very important. So will be anything that that I help construct does go through the lawyer just to make sure it's plausible, holds up in court and things like that. So if you hear me talking about that, I'll always give updates on where that is going. As far as compilation of a town's newsletter, for right now, as well as other projects in the future, because we are such a small government and it's delegated to, one or two people. We do need volunteers for this, as well as other things that I will get to further in my report. But the formation of a communications committee is very vital, and I will be working with some volunteers from the town. So if you know someone who will be interested, please contact me. My email is bwhite@fairmounthheightsmd.gov. So please get the word out about that, as well as the reformation of the town flyers, because I know people get confused as to there being so many of them. So working out probably a double-sided situation where there are small lodgings on the paper, so we can get everything out to you in one fell swoop and then send more out as the event draws closer. And as for the donations of the new fridges by Councilwoman Stewart, we still have the old fridge somewhere on the property, as well as the clothes room. So in situations like this, we do have the means to supply small donations of food as well as clothing, but during the day, we have no one to, oversee those things. And so if you know someone who would really like to volunteer, please let us know, because we do have the connections to get these things out. It's just we do not have the people to chaperone and supervise these things. And as for that, I believe that covers everything for me. And yes, thank you so much. Yes.
Mm-hmm. In the last report, you mentioned about the where you can borrow books.
Mm-hmm.
Go bookshelf. I don't have them.
Yes.
Chevrolet.
Yes.
You talk about building them. How we go about doing that?
So the Lowell Free Library. So the Lowell Free Library, I'm sure you all have seen them in other communities.
Yes.
Chevrolet Women's Club has just purchased one, so they have a few in their town. As for our town, we need to decide if we would like to move forward with either constructing one or purchasing one, and then having children, some outreach from probably Robert R. Gray or C. Pleasant Elementary, facilitate in decorating it. Now, the price of them are about $140, so they're not very expensive, but it is a beautification effort that we have to decide as a community. Would we find this profitable to the enrichment of our community? So that is something that is still on the table, and it's something we seriously need to think about, because if you all would like it, we can get it.
But we want to have positive feedback because we don't want to get something and then, it's a useless buy if the citizens are upset about it. Besides that, there's also placement to be concerned. So would it be on the town hall property, or would you like it somewhere in the town? Because there are a few, speaking of which, these few small slithers of land that are owned by, the county. Would we be able to put one there? What would be done with it? So we are absolutely open to suggestions with that as well. Ms. Sarumi?
I just wanted to comment.
Mm-hmm.
I truly thank you for the assistance that you've given for the website. I tell you, my technological know-how suffers, even at home. But now when I click on the website, I constantly see the news flash, I see information flying by, I see all kinds of information. And as I said to you before, whenever you or I have the time, I certainly would like to meet with you, or even Ms. Stewart, you guys to show me how to use the Q, what is it called?
The QRs?
Yeah, right. This kind of communication will help us keep track of traffic, people coming to town. I just want to publicly thank you for making the website much better.
Thank you. Also, to expand on that, I didn't talk about this because it's such a loose premise, but I'm sure you all have heard me talk in previous meetings about my outreach to the colleges, so we can try to get someone who is solely taking care of this, because, as you know, I work a full-time job. Ms. Sarumi is doing other very important things within the realm of the town. And so we really need someone dedicated, because this is the fastest way to get information to you all. And so with that being said, I haven't heard feedback from the local colleges. So at this point, I would really like suggestions, or, open feedback, whether getting a high school student liaison would be something that works really well. When I went to Fairmount Heights, they had us doing a multitude of things, and especially if you were in the IT program, you were really handed a lot of responsibility. So in that case, that might be something that we have to look into. And if so, we would probably be able to formulate some sort of, or reach out for some grant money to get them paid. But that's very loose and abstract at the moment. So that's all I have to say about that. But thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Good evening. As far as my report, just wanted to let it be known, Fairmount Heights, First Baptist Church of Fairmount Heights just celebrated their 110th year. On September the 26th, I attended Joanne Benson's 202 Coalition in regard to the Centurions and escorted Teresa Graves. As of this September 26th ongoing, Angela Orsa Brooks dedicated September 26th as Teresa Graves Day. So through the county, she'll be recognized. And each of the seniors, I think it's September the 8th, the 16th, the 18th, and Miss Graves was the 26th. It was two that was 100. Miss Graves was 101. And I'm not really saying the lady's name right, but she's 104. And she just stopped driving last year. Her son had to come take her keys and say he needed to borrow her car. That's the only way she stopped. But she's an AKA. She came in her colors. Her nails are always pink or green. She's always elaborate and eloquently dressed. I mean, you wouldn't even, out of the four sitting, she looked the youngest. And that's the truth. It was a mind-blowing event. On October the 8th, we had a good opening with the clothes closet. I'm really eager to work with the chief in regard to the coats, because those that were coming in made a request. We did a coat collection. It's been a while, but this will really be a blessing, because kids that were coming in, they had no coats, and it's getting ready to really get frigid. So that's going to be a good thing. And with me, I'll be collecting more information coming from UCAP. They're going to send me a listing of what they have in order to really be resourceful for us with community intervention that they can give as far as services to start. And there's other information forthcoming. And that's my report. Oh, October the 29th, we're looking forward to any candy contribution you want to give. We will be at the back of this building from 5 until 8, trunk or treat. So we'll take collection if you want to drop off, like it's been, candy to Miss Tucker or the building being open. We'll greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
She took my report. We worked together on our Trick or Trunk and Harvest Festival and our new ideas that's coming forth. We're also doing something in November where we're going to have another glow party for the youth, and also we're going to be doing decorations for Christmas, because we know that Christmas is approaching, and a lot of us like handmade decoration. Thanks to Akiba, she's been sending me a lot of YouTube videos on decorations that we could be doing. So we want to do this. We'll be doing this in November, so when I guess time to put up Christmas trees and ornaments and stuff like that, our house can be beautified. Also, we're going to do Light Up the Night contest for your homes. We want to see beautification in your home. We want to see the best house on the block. Please decorate your homes. We will be coming around looking at everybody's home to see who had the best home on the block or the best home in the town of Fairmount Heights. That concludes my report, I believe. That's it.
I have one.
Yeah.
When are you going to start the Light Up the Night? I love that idea. We can start that Light Up the Night.
It's going to be towards like the second week of December. So we're going to let everyone know in advance in November to go ahead and start setting up decorations and light up the night. And I'm all for it. And we will be giving out prizes. Yes.
Question, just for the 29th, October 29th, is that the drop-off in the trunk or treat, or that's the drop-off?
You can actually start dropping off all your candy now.
Flyers have been going.
The flyers already been sent out.
Okay, that is, okay.
Yep, this is the flyer. Also, can you give me a show of hands who have Facebook? Nobody? Facebook. Please follow the historic town of Fairmount Heights. I'm posting just about everything I can possibly think of on that Fairmount Heights webpage, on Fairmount Heights Facebook. That way the community, if we forget something, you will see it on the town of historic Fairmount Heights, on the Facebook page. So I've been updating a lot of stuff that I've get handed to. The police chief just mentioned he has one as well for safety reasons and little quotes of the days. It's too much paper being tossed around. I'm sorry. I just want everybody to really focus on that Facebook historic town of Fairmount Heights. So if we miss something, or you may not get this on your door, because I've seen where every house been skipped. I come home and see this on my doorstep or in the pathway of the walkway, or it's been rained on. So if y'all don't get this, please follow the historic town of Fairmount Heights, where you can actually receive the information that you need for the day. I just posted this fall annual bulk trash pickup on the town website, on the Fairmount Heights. So y'all will have that information as well.
Like the page. Like the page. Please like the page. Like the page.
Please
like the page.
follow.
Follow.
Yes, go ahead, Kim.
So with the community, yes, I think it's amazing. I think it's wonderful. But as far as diversity, it seems like a lot of events are geared towards kids. I Supply, what are you all doing for the seniors? I mean, this town was built on the backs of the seniors. A lot of us are here in this town because we're second and third generation. You know, our parents that live here. Some of us even live in our parents' houses. You know, what are we doing for the seniors? I always hear them being skipped over.
The seniors in the, no, it's the seniors, see, how I look at it, I'm sorry. The seniors is not being skipped over. She deals with the seniors. I have more of the youth, the young adults of my age. When you look out in the town, you don't see kids really roaming around or doing any activities or anything like that. So I'm rebuilding that part of the town because our youth is our future. So that's how I see things as well. She actually deals with a lot the seniors and stuff like that. So that's more of her end of dealing with that.
Yeah, and I agree. She does work with the seniors on a more one-on-one basis. You know, she reaches out to them, she talks to them, she finds out what they need. But it seems like, you know, trunk or treat and like, you know, all that stuff is more geared to. And it's great. I mean, because the youth are our future. But the youth wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for the seniors.
Right.
That moved into this town in the 50s and 60s. Half of us wouldn't even be here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why I'm asking.
Well, what's getting ready to happen, hopefully within the next month, a flyer will go out. I don't hardly need a mic. A flyer.
People on the people on the line can't hear you.
This thing going in and out.
They can hear you.
Okay, a flyer of some sort will go out, and those that are seniors can send it back, or my phone number's on it, and I can get a listing, because most of the seniors that I did have are no longer, and it's new seniors like myself and all included. It needs to be known. That way, the need that is expected from us to you all can be extended. You know, I need a coat. I hold it personal because I know seniors in some instances are prideful, and confidentially, you don't want your business all out in the street. So if you can get what I need and bring it to the door, that's the way it should be done, out of respect. So rebuilding a list and trust and having a personable, we can, come to that point. If at any point we can recalibrate to come back in the building, or maybe, I don't have no hang-ups about door to door. That's where I started way back. So whatever it's going to take, we'll start with, like I'm saying, a flyer. Those that know the number, call, leave a message, or call till you get me, and I got you. So it should be something to manifest real soon.
Yeah, I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know you personally. You touch base with the seniors on a personal level. But when I'm speaking of more like events.
Right.
Holidays are coming.
Right.
Some seniors don't even have no one to eat.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying the list, because turkeys are coming. And those that I do know, and I'm going to get names for what is remaining now to extend, the olive branches we see needed.
Okay, Council.
Can I?
Yeah, hold on.
Just
You just want to interject something
for
concerning
seniors, yes.
hold on for one moment, Councilmember Stewart. Councilmember Wade is finished.
This is not to exclude what council members share with you concerning seniors, but I definitively say this all the time. Some of the seniors here are not identified, so I might not need a turkey. I might just need an activity.
Right.
I might just need something to do. I'm not a senior that's retired. I'm a working senior. So what do you have for me? I turned 65 2 weeks ago. Most people don't know that, but I am now. I probably was there already. But what age, when you say senior, what age are you starting and what age do you finish? Because sometimes we overlook a certain select number of or age of seniors because we're not either retired or we're not impaired, or we have some challenge. All seniors don't have challenges, but per your question, we need something to do. I'm gonna tap you because I like hand dancing. You already know.
But
see, no, I'm not saying. I'm saying what.
hand dancing with line dancing. I have, and I'll make it more accessible, but I have it and have given it to go on our website, Cedar Heights, hand
Right, okay,
dancing,
but
going to Westminster, the jazz, get on the bus every Monday, every Friday. You can get on the bus to Cedar Heights, ride all the way down Southwest.
But I work, I can't go, I work.
Okay.
Huh?
I'm saying, what I'm saying is I work, so.
No, I'm saying this is in the evening, after work.
Okay, I
After
think you,
work.
okay. I think
You can go to the jazz, I invited Miss Span so she can elaborate, and it's phenomenal. You $10,
Okay.
you're getting a show that won't quit. That won't quit, and you can go downstairs and eat dinner, and by 9 o'clock you back on the bus if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And go back to your park car at Cedar Heights, or you can drive. The option is yours, but you got dinner downstairs, a show, you in a safe environment every Monday, every Friday. Blues on Monday, jazz on Friday. And this has been for the last 17 years. So we're late doing it. But I mean, Cedar Heights have dancing. American Legion over in Cheverly have hand dancing for $5. From 10 to 12, that's in the daytime. But then you have a lot of evening line dancing. So I'll make sure that all of this be put out if you want to dance, or maybe we can start here. I bought bingo boards, and I have the access to a machine for right here. It's a lot of things that can be reiterated right here. It's just either volunteers or whatever.
All right. Well, thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Stewart, I think you're the.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. We really appreciate you. I'm not going to keep you long. I know you've heard about the meet and greet on October 26th. Please, if you don't have anything else to do, come out, hear what the new chief's strategic plan is on how he's going to combat the crime in this area. Please come out. That's all I have. October 26th from 6 to 8, and it will be light refreshments, but good light refreshments. Thank you.
Oh, boy. Okay, thank you all. Thank you, council members. It's been brought to my attention that we have a question in the chat. Is it related to communication?
It's related to.
If so, okay. So if you could pass that along to Councilmember White, and then after that, we're gonna go to public participation, and after that, because, you know, we're way into the late hour, and I've been here since 6, so you know how I'm feeling right about now.
So it may have already been Councilmember White.
Woo.
It may have already been answered, but there's a question in the chat. Can we develop digital announcements for the town?
Okay.
So can we wean away from paper?
Yeah.
Shy.
Can you?
Sorry. Should I?
See if she.
Okay, hi.
Okay.
So in terms of the town website as well as veering towards social media, that has already been in place for a couple of months, so you will see the website updated more frequently. Excuse me. As well as in things like, so in terms of the website, this is why I really want to spend more time with Ms. Sarumi, as well as someone who could allocate more time to it as well. We do have things, everything has a place on the website, but understandable in terms of mobile interface, it can be a little annoying to have to scroll down on things. So to kind of help with that, what'll happen is if say there's a meeting tonight, you'll notice if you go to the website at the top, there's, a banner that says town hall meeting tonight. You click on it, you don't have to go anywhere else. You click on it and it will immediately take you to the Zoom meeting. So things like that have been improved, so we don't, really have to look around as much. But there's tons of room for improvement. So it really is a work in progress. But in terms of things like, let's say, text messaging, so that's a new frontier we have not covered yet. I'm very, very excited about covering those things. In terms of logistics, we haven't worked those out yet, but in terms of text messaging and things like that, that is something we are looking forward to in the future, as well as other things like when you come into town hall. We got the QR code set up, which leads you to a questionnaire so you can give your name and your number to stay in contact with us. That is actually being reconfigured. I have to code it to go in like automatically into an Excel sheet. So it'll, categorize it, everyone by like name, phone, and address. So things like that are happening. So we're just trying to, at this point, speed up and catch up to everyone else where we can get this information out. I know people are tired of the paper flyers, but we do have senior citizens in the town and people who prefer the paper flyers. So those have to keep coming out right now in terms of being accessible to everyone. Right now, that's the easiest way to do that. I hope that answered the question. I don't want to talk anymore. It's getting kind of late. It wouldn't be fair to you all.
No.
Okay, so maybe they were satisfied.
And that was the last question.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You guys.
All right, thank you all very much. Was there anything pressing or for the good of the organization?
Just one more thing.
Okay.
Good evening, family. I know we all ready to go, so I won't be long. My name is Renita.
Need a mic.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
My name is Renita Bennett. I'm with the Fairmount Heights Community Development Corporation. Excuse me, it's a little late. We aim to bridge the gap between the community members and the town's government and its leaders. We are assisting the town with the capacity building and going out for additional funding and sources to help bridge the gap in the development within the community and to access and pursue funding through state and federal funds and other sources. So that is what we are here to do. Again, I'm Renita Flood Bennett. My founder, Daisy Capers, is right here. And I do just have a presentation for Lily Martin. Just on behalf of Ms. Capers, it is a thank you to Mayor Lily Martin. So often acts of kindness go unnoticed because we are often too busy, so we overlook them or just take it for granted with a thank you. Today, we, the Capers, Little, Butler, and Ayers family would like to take a moment to thank you for listening to that small voice and responding to an urgent need. This act of kindness was a lifesaver. Our mother, grandmother, aunt, and cousin was in distress. You could not see her or even know she needed help, but you heard that small voice and called just to check on her. For that, we are grateful. We could never pay you for your kindness or obedience, but we do not want to waste time waiting to just thank you. So this is a token of appreciation on behalf of the Capers family. I do apologize because, we had a long night, so it's a little water with everywhere, it's a little damp, but yes,
but
that's
the
for
thought
you.
is there.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Thank you everyone for allowing me to speak. I know everybody can go home. Good night, everyone.
All right. I appreciate that so much. It's just something that I love to be able to do. Yes. And it's great that you waited all this time to say, you want to say thanks to me, and I appreciate it. I really do. They are beautiful. Yes. All right. I appreciate them so much. All right. All right, you all. I'll hold on to that. I see something in the bottom. I'm just going to hold it because I don't want to drop it out anymore. I'll put it right here. Okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Capers and Renita. Mrs. Capers, all right. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Gladden.
I just have one question. This didn't come up tonight, but I just wanted to know in regards to the ARPA spending. Is there any determination based on the community feedback on how that's going to help that? And then secondly, would that determination be shared with the community? And then also, along that same line, with Delegate Lewis, Jack Lewis was here at the work session, he touched on, if Fairmount Heights wanted to apply or put in a bid for a bond bill, that it would be helpful for Fairmount Heights to bring some money to the table, or that would make the bond bill more favorable if Fairmount Heights brought some money to the table. So I was wondering if part of the ARPA spending could be used for that, or should that be revisited? I mean, because it sounded like it was a strong favoritism that Fairmount Heights was interested in this bond bill. So he gave us good information last week that, it would be helpful to look at it a little more favorably if Fairmount Heights brought some money to the table as well.
Yes. And thanks for bringing that up, because we realize that the requirements are definitely there. Sometimes you have to bring some matching funds, and we don't know all the specifics of it, but we're following it every step of the way, because for one thing, Senator Benson was the first one that came forward and said that she would be happy to help us to, try to get a bond bill through this time. Okay, then Delegate Lewis said the same thing. He said he'd be willing to help, and then this specifics, Mr. Rumi has been checking like with Senator Benson's office, and we're gonna have to go back to Delegate Lewis's office to find out the other things that we're gonna need. And one of the things that we're gonna go and talk about that more, that we know we need to have a definitely like an engineer's report for, especially we started talking about problems in this building and things that we know need to be upgraded. There especially like mainly ADA requirements. Right now, a person, you can't even come, when you come through the front door, if you're not able, sometimes there's nothing there to let you in automatically. There are some things that we really need, and we expressed that. So we have 3 members on board already. We have Senator Benson, we have Delegate Lewis, and we have soon-to-be Delegate Tiffany Austin, who has promised their support. What they're doing right now, they're giving us all the information that we're going to need to move forward with it. So as far as the matching funds and everything that comes with us, they're going to make sure that's outlined. So when we're ready to present, we'll know which way to do it, when we're going to have to go down and testify, and everything else that comes with the bond bill. So we are hoping that we're going to be able to get that pushed through. We're in the process. We're definitely working on it. So you know how a lot of times the focus shifts from one person. They'll say, well, you have to see this person in that office, but Mr. Rumi has been trailing that, because we've been emphasizing the importance of us. It's important that we get that. And as to whether we're going to be able to use the ARPA funding to match it with, we'll see, as it comes forward, all the details come, we might be able to, we don't know. But we're definitely investigating.
So based on the ARPA meetings we've had, 2, 3, 4 ARPA meetings, has it been determined how the ARPA funds are going to be spent?
Not yet. Not yet, because we haven't officially, we need to go back to see, because we have to get with the treasurer to officially outline everything. We have the suggestions, and they were numbered in our last meeting, but we need to go back and officially designate which out of that group we're going to actually take, because actually what we had so many.
No, I'm sorry, Mayor, I put all that together in a resolution for the spending for ARPA. We just haven't voted on it.
No, but okay, still there were some things that, because I haven't even submitted mine at the time that you did that, you remember?
No, but we submitted our stuff first. The council submitted our suggestions first, and then we got citizens' input.
I understand, but what I'm saying, I didn't have mine included.
We have five.
Okay, but we'll talk about that more. I'm just saying that was what the consensus was that I could gather. But we still have to we got to get it finalized, and then from there, we would know whether we could use any of that funding to go towards the match if we need that, or where we go from there. Yes, ma'am.
Another thing, Senator Benson and Jazz Lewis talked about, did the mayor and council get a contractor to walk through this building? Ms. Mooney was a contractor hired to walk through the building? Because we see this building.
Absolutely not. I think in my report I keep saying you need to hire a consultant.
We need a consultant.
Well, a contractor they mentioned. And give contractors report by November 1st. where they can actually file for the bond.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have some contact information that we've gotten. As a matter of fact, Ms. Capers gave me some information for an engineer and some of the other places that I haven't had the opportunity to contact them this week, but I hope to do it between tomorrow and Friday to talk to them to find out what their requirements are. But I don't want to go beyond the process of where if it has to be like an RFP, because you go back to that, and then if I'm out jumping doing that grunt work, and it might not even be the manner it's supposed to be run in. So I'm trying to make sure that as we proceed that it's done in the correct manner.
And they told us, but we need a contractor, and my understanding, Ms.
It's a consultant, yeah.
Yeah, Ms. Merritt had an inspector come here 6 months ago. Where's that report?
I don't have the report from that.
So
That was what.
in touch with Ms. Merritt.
No, but I haven't talked to Ms. Merritt, but I had asked her the last day that she was here if she would forward that report. I don't have it. I think Renita might know the person, even though she wasn't here for that time when the engineer came. But if we could get that, it would be wonderful, but I haven't been able to put my hands on it.
Okay, well, maybe
I haven't.
we can help them get that report.
Yeah.
Have we paid this person?
No. We didn't pay for that. It wasn't even related to us. It was just, I was here at the time that it was done. Yeah, but it was some good information that came out of his report. He was really effective. But like I said, I don't want to veer off and it not be done in the manner, if it has to be done with RFP or whatever. See, because, then you might be going down the wrong road with it, and it's just sort of juggling our time away. So that's what we need. Yeah, that's the thing.
That's a large scope.
That's
define the scope of the work. I mean, anybody can just come in and look at the wall.
right. Well, see, that's what it is. That's where the difference comes in. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, if you need any assistance with request for proposals, officiate in the proper procedures moving forward, just so it won't be belabored, because we have what this up, that building does need to be going up to code. ADA accessibility is a necessity imperative because the majority of your members are seniors, so they do need that accessibility. So, anything that we as the CDC can do to help speed things up, we are open. Please engage.
Okay.
Let us know what you need. Okay?
Yeah. I keep hearing this chitter chatter. Ooh.
It's not chitter chatter. I have the construction report.
Oh, you have it?
Akiba Raiders, it was sent on August 18th. I'll forward it to you. But we need another building inspection done, and I've been asking for this for the last, 2 months? To get this done, and we still in a slow process of not getting it done.
So what kind of report was that? I mean, that's one thing. Right, but is he an engineer? I mean, what is his credential?
He was, this person here, he was a...
So she said, hello ladies, good afternoon. As promised, please find the building evaluation / construction budget that I received from architect Vincent Johnson. Please let me know and review. Questions? I have that report right here, and I will forward it over to the building so she can take a look at it.
Oh, yeah, because I hadn't seen it. Okay. I didn't even know it came, so. Okay. All right, so if there is nothing else, I want to thank everyone for your patience, and thank you for being timely and everything. I think everything went well tonight. And at this time, I will accept a motion for adjournment. Oh, my God.
I move that we adjourn. Second.
Oh, Jesus. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we stand adjourned at 11 o'clock.
Hold on.